Sings one. There's a touchdown. Welcome to Edmonton, Trevor Harris. Harris stands in, unloads, look out, touchdown. Going to try to go himself. Oh, move. Touchdown, Vernon Adams Jr. Throw a dagger. Maybe. Yes, oh, what a catch. Touchdown. C.J. Gable.
Gonna stand back again. William Stanback.
He's a bad man.
He leads the CFL in passing yards per game, 8 touchdown passes, no picks. Trevor Harris and the Eskimos off to a 3-1 start, including a win over Montreal in Week 1. When this man came off the bench, and the Alouettes have improved since then. Vernon Adams, coming off his best start as a pro last week in Ottawa, 23 of 30, 327, 2 touchdown passes and 1 on the ground as well. There's reason for optimism at Molson Stadium at McGill in Montreal, with the Alouettes back home now at 2-2 suddenly and trying to get above the 500 mark. Part 1 of 2 in doubleheader Saturday here in the CFL on TSN. Come on in where it's air-conditioned cool. A very hot day in Montreal as they get set for this one. Rod Smith, Davis Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, Milt Stiegel, as said, first of 2 later, BC and Saskatchewan. But first up, Coors Light answering the call for Edmonton and Montreal. Who you got, Milt?
I'm going with Vaj. Vernon Adams Jr. That's what he wants to be called now.
No way.
And just what he's been doing over the last 2 games, remain consistent. You think about what he's done, 530 yards passing, 100 yards rushing. He's accounted for 5 touchdowns, 2 passing and 3 rushing. That's all he has to do, remain consistent, and he gives his team an opportunity to win this game.
And Gary Jones says he's got the it factor, too, which is huge for a quarterback where everybody believes in him. I'm going with Quan Bray, who's been hot the last couple of weeks, and they'll need him because Cunningham and Posey are both down. Yeah. And a guy they've been riding for the last couple of weeks, William Stanback, could become the latest Montreal Alouettes since 2008, and Avon Coburn rushed for 3 straight 100-yard games. They're going to need that ground and pound big time from William.
And Bray's going to get a lot of touches with those guys out.
Yes.
He got 10 touches his first game as an Al, so I expect the same thing. But defensively, this Owls team, with those guys out, this defense has got to have a huge game, I think. It's Bob Slowick, too. It's like defensive coordinator. Not many people talk about him. A life in the NFL. The middle linebacker for this team, what's his name?
Enoch
Mwamba. I talked to him yesterday. He told me that Slowick is the most inspirational defensive coordinator he's been around his whole career. And he's been around football a long time, so these guys are playing for him.
That defense certainly rose up against the Ottawa Red Blacks. A big challenge. Oh, yeah. Remember Enoch? Big challenge coming up with the Edmonton Eskimos. Rod Black, Dwayne Ford have the call. It's up next.
That's why you got teammates.
Edmonton defensive line really set the tone.
Riley in trouble. Down he goes. They have been feasting on Mike Riley.
Airs it out for Matthews. It's intercepted.
Looking for Posey, and it's picked off. Here they come again. Down he goes again. Sack squad continues. Intercepted.
That defense has been balls up.
Here we go, Canada. It is a sizzler. The Hill at McGill Stadium in Montreal. Eskimos, Alouettes on Family Day on the island today, here in the home of the Alouettes, and more than the meat is smoked today. Welcome to the barbecue.
Yes, sir. Well, a couple guys looking to heat things up on the ground today, Rod. Starts with William Stanback, the Canadian Football League's leading rusher. Back-to-back games of over 100 yards for the Alouette running back, and his counterpart, number 2 in the league, Edmonton RB C.J. Gable, who started the season with back-to-back efforts of over 100 yards, including $154 against these very Alouettes in Week 1.
And 2 quarterbacks who know each other well, who turn coaches. Jason Moss directing his Eskimos. He's never lost to the Alouettes. In fact, they have an 11-game win streak, and Kahari Jones, another ex-quarterback turned head coach, who has 2 wins in his first season with the Alouettes. It's been a tumultuous start to the season off the field for the Owls. They want to get it going here, keep it going. Their first Saturday afternoon game since 2007, and it is a scorcher. Feeling like about 45 degrees. And Ryder Stone is brought down, and out comes the guy they call VA, Vernon Adams, who took over as quarterback in Game 1 against the Eskimos in Edmonton.
Yeah, and Vernon Adams had a terrific outing, very nearly led the Alouettes back in that game in a fourth quarter comeback before falling to the Eskimos. Turned in his best statistical performance as a CFL starter in last week's win over the Ottawa Red Blacks.
William Stanback, CFL rushing leader in the backfield, will get the rock right away, coming off a 100-yard performance, and before that a 200-yard performance. Stanback has become the feature guy in this Montreal offense.
Yes, sir, and they may lean on him even a little bit more today as there are some changes in the receiving corps. They're very young. Marcus Taylor comes into the lineup for this game. Their 2 most targeted receivers, B.J. Cunningham and Devere Posey, both out. And the young offensive line, I think, is benefiting as well from that run game. That includes Tyler Johnstone, the right tackle, first-round pick in the supplemental draft in 2018.
Eskimos loading it up here. Second down, likely a throwing down. 2 very good teams on second down. And trying to corral it, Quan Bray saying he caught it, but he's not selling it to the official. Our referee today is Tom Valese here in Montreal. A quick 2 and out for the Alouette offense. They'll boot it away.
Yeah, real tight window here, with Bray pretty well covered on the play. One hopper goes incomplete, and we'll have Boris Bide on to punt.
Back to retrieve. Martise Jackson, one of the most dangerous returners over the last couple of seasons, but has had a slow start to 2019 on returns. Where's Beatty? And that'll be no yards. 15-yarder. Jackson gets the edge, though, and they'll take that 15 yards as they were within that 5-yard halo, the restraining area here in the Canadian Football League. And now Trevor Harris, operating, as always, above 70% right now. And Trevor Harris, a guy who came in as the heir apparent to Michael Riley, who went to BC, of course. Trevor Harris hasn't skipped a beat. Yeah, Trevor Harris has very quickly put his own mark on the Edmonton Eskimos, and not a surprise, he and Jason Moss, the pre-existing relationship, able to click and work very well together right off the bat. As you mentioned, Trevor Harris comes into this completing 73% of his pass attempts. He has yet to throw an interception. Has 8 touchdown passes on the year thus far. 218 completions without a pick. That's 6th all time. He's throwing right away, looking to make it 219. Has his man, and a great defensive play at the very last moment. Deontay Evans breaking that up, as Ricky Collins Jr. looked for a moment to have the window. Yeah, this is all about time and space, and because this ball is traveling a long distance, you're going to see as Collins gets open, because that distance the ball has to travel in the air. Time for the halfback, Deontay Evans, to react and get over there to help. Or Deontay Evans gets over there to help out. Nice job making a play without making contact with the receiver. Again, the Eskimos, number 1 in the CFL on second down conversions. Look like they might be able to convert here. It is going to be short of a first down. They had to get to the 49 of Montreal, but they may be tempted here. No, they are not. It's almost 3 yards where the spot is. So 2 and out on both sides for both offenses here under the heat in Montreal. Yeah, as we saw, over 40 degrees Celsius at field level. They will go through a lot of water on the sidelines today, partner. So will we. They're in uniform, only 2 guys in suits in the entire city of Montreal today. Well, maybe a couple of others, but we are sweating. That's okay. Steph Logan is no longer the Turner First time in a long time as Marcus Taylor takes the ball. Steph Logan was released this week by the Montreal Alouettes, so Marcus Taylor bringing that ball back. Family day in Montreal. Don't think anybody's going to be buying a lot of hot chocolate today. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League. Week 6 continuing. First game of a twin bill today, doubleheader Saturday on TSN. Later today, Saskatchewan Roughriders and the BC Lions will tangle, but here it's the Owls, 2-2, looking for their first 3-game win streak since 2016 against the 3-1 Eskimos. Vernon Adams is in trouble, and the sack squad gets to him right away. And another sack for a team that leads the league in sacks, and Mike Moore has sack number 4 on the early season.
This Eskimos defensive line has been a big part of the story for them so far in 2019. We'll take a look. Mike Moore from his defensive tackle spot. Quick swim move into the backfield. Virtually untouched. Great quickness from Mike Moore off the line.
Moore, former Ottawa Red Black, delayed draw to stand back. Swallowed up, and again, another 2 and out for the Alouettes. Eskimos second best at forcing 2 and outs in the league. And again, this Eskimo team has impressed a lot of people considering all the personnel changes. Vontae Diggs, a newcomer, Larry Dean comes over from the Hamilton Tiger Cats in the offseason. All of the changes, including a quarterback, and a team right now that is leading in most statistical categories in the CFL.
Well, what they've done is an excellent job of becoming a team very quickly. You expected teams like Winnipeg and Hamilton that didn't have a lot of turnover to get off to the good starts that they had because of that continuity. I think Edmonton has done some things to make up for their lack of continuity to become more familiar.
52-yard kick, Martese Jackson reversing. Now he's going to get outside, and Jackson's been running around wild and finally gets into Montreal territory. Had to run about 75 yards there to pick up about 15, but he does. 25-yard return, as a matter of fact. Let's take another look at Martese Zigzag Jackson.
It gets everybody outside that left hash for him. Not a whole lot of resistance when he turns it back the other way. You know, when you've got a guy with the speed of Martese Jackson, he starts heading towards that far left sideline, and everybody's going to over-pursue because they've got to make sure he doesn't beat them to the angle.
Quick hitter. Tavares Daniels. Tommy Campbell blankets him. This is an Edmonton offense that uses a lot of those slants and quick hitters. They have the personnel for that.
Well, they certainly do. Lots of depth in that receiving core. First-year man Tavon Smith has been inside for the last couple games after starting at wide receiver. He's still looking to get kick-started a little bit out of the slot on that offensive line. Matt O'Donnell goes on the injured list. Rookie Kyle Saxlett out of UNLV gets the start at right guard in his place.
They'll miss the almost 7-footer, Matt O'Donnell. Good protection again for Harris. He's only been sacked once this season. Swings it out to the far side for C.J. Gable out of the backfield. He'll lunge forward, and again, it looks like he's going to be shy of the first down. Almost 2 yards. Jason Moss takes a look at that. Will he bring out Sean White?
Ryan Carter, it's
going to be the short yardage team coming out. The Eskimos decide to go for it.
The first third down gamble in this ball game.
I think you've got two teams really just looking to try and get some traction offensively one way or another, and that's triggering the gamble.
And Kenny Stafford, former Alouette, drops the football on a counter play fake, and had he been able to catch that, he had tons of room, might have even taken it 20-30 yards, but drops the football. And the third down gamble does not pay off. First turnover of the ball game on downs by the Eskimos.
This is going to be a frustrating miss for Jason Moss. They've got Kenny Stafford working to the flat. And you're going to get blockers out in front of them. They've got 1, 2, 3. Kelvin McCarty comes from the backside. This is going to be off play action. They get the look they want. They get everything blocked up. See how they've got them outnumbered in terms of blockers. They get everything except the catch. Otherwise, they'd have that third down conversion. Not having a ton of success on those gambles thus far in 2019, Rod.
8 of 12 on third down. Alouettes hold, but more so a drop by the Eskimos. Kenny Stafford thinking about running before catching. So Adams back at it. Goes over the top, right at the midfield stripe. Gino Lewis. Gene Lewis has the first big play for the Owls of this one.
Eugene Lewis becomes the veteran in this Alouette receiving corps with Cunningham and Posey out of the lineup. Lewis, second-year starter, his third year with the team. Comes up with a big catch here. Coming across the middle.
26-year-old Vernon Adams from Pasadena, California. Former Oregon Duck. Swatted down. One of those big Sasquatches the Edmonton Eskimos have on their D-line. Kwaku Boateng says, not right now.
Yeah, again, this defensive line kind of triggers it all for the success of the Edmonton Eskimos. They've done a good job. It's not just about the sacks, but it's about providing pressure. Make it more difficult for quarterbacks to throw the ball accurately.
Came into the week second. 16 sacks, now 17 on the season. Here comes the rush again. Adams with a great fake there. Vernon Adams will slide down near the 35-yard line, and Adams kind of slid awkwardly, but what a juke by Vernon Adams.
Well, what you're going to get, Rod, is separation between the levels in the rush. You're going to see the first three guys get up the field, and then Nick Usher is going to come a little bit later, and there's kind of separation, which creates a lane for Adams to make that cut. Three guys upfield, and then it's like one-on-one with 65 yards of width. In terms of space, Adams has an advantage against a D lineman in that matchup every time.
Nick Usher couldn't grab on, and now tripped up was Eugene Lewis, another first down, and this Montreal team marching the ball impressively. Jordan Hoover with a shoestring tackle.
A little bubble screen type look, get the ball in the hands of Eugene Lewis. And quick hitter, high percentage play, letting Vernon Adams start to settle in offensively. Get into a little bit of a rhythm here, get his receivers all involved.
And Adams did not start the season, Antonio Pipkin did, but then came in when Pipkin went down with injury. Now maybe a reverse, maybe a flea flicker. It is! It's Lewis to Adams, touchdown! How about that? My, oh my, oh my. Little razzle-dazzle, heating it up in Montreal. Vernon Adams has his fourth touchdown of the season, but his first in quite some time receiving the football.
So it's going first to William Stanback, then to Eugene Lewis coming out of the slot, but nobody goes with Vernon Adams off his fake. Leaves the quarterback wide open in the flat. Easy dump for Eugene Lewis for his first career touchdown pass.
Vernon Adams, keep in mind, last year with the Hamilton Tiger Cats, there was a time with Jeremiah Masoli in and the Johnny Manziel thing going on in Hamilton. Vernon Adams was actually trying out as a receiver. Makes a great quarterback, but he can catch the ball too. Eugene Lewis with the throw, Adams with 6, and the Owls strike first.
Girl, I bet you think I'm good.
The scene is getting crowded, I'ma ride my own way. I don't need your approval, I'ma go my own way. Ride my own, ay, 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 ay.
Well, the first Saturday in a long time they're playing football. The Owls are at McGill Stadium, and they start quickly. Vernon Adams and Gino Lewis combining. Not the way you would think.
Trading places.
Trading places for the first touchdown of this ball game. Martese Jackson high-stepping through a seam, and then he's dragged down near the 25-yard line by Jarner Jones. Here is the touchdown drive. 5 plays, 74 yards.
Yeah, and not big plays, but chewing up some chunks of yardage for a team that hadn't had a first down in their previous possessions. 4 plays of 14 yards or more on that drive. Eugene Lewis playing a big role. Couple of catches for him, and caps it off with the touchdown pass to his quarterback.
And 7 points off of that Edmonton turnover. Again, turning the ball over on downs. And something the Alouettes have become very proficient at early in the season, something they haven't been too good at over the last couple of years.
Yeah, a team, Rod, that comes in second in the league in points off turnovers, learning to make the most of their opportunities. Now you go back to that week 1 game against Edmonton. Remember, Edmonton had a lot of turnovers in that game, and the Alouettes struggled to make the most of those opportunities. But another sign that things are starting to turn the corner here for the Owls.
It has been a long corner, mind you, as Harris connects. And a fumbled football. Chris Aki has it. And is this another turnover? There was no whistle. Montreal's saying it's their ball.
Well, lots to evaluate here. Did he have it long enough for it to be a catch?
Kenny Stafford. Kenny Stafford again. And I think you're right. I think did he have the ball long enough? Because clearly it came out.
Ruling on the play is a catch with the player down before fumble. First down, Edmonton.
So Kahari Jones and his spotters will look at this. They're looking at the big screen right now. And it doesn't look like he's going to get a challenge flag down. So they will play on. And yeah, he did. Good call.
Yeah,
Knee
absolutely
down.
The right call.
Knee down. Trevor Harris back at it. There's that play that didn't work before. Stafford hanging on this time, and I can bet that Kenny Stafford will be hanging all game long.
Well, and whether intentionally or if it's just where reads have taken him, you have to like the mentality of going right back to Kenny Stafford, keeping him in the game, not letting him get down on himself at all. A couple of quickies, and you hope for Kenny Stafford the previous drop that caused that turnover on downs is quickly forgotten.
2nd down and 4. Another play action. Near side, guess what? Guess who? Stafford stretching, likely the first down. An Eskimo team that comes into this week averaging 451 yards per game in net offense. That's clearly number 1 in the league. And 220 yards allowed. That is also number 1 in the league. Says something when you're doing great things on both sides of the ball.
It certainly does.
1st and 10 from the 50. 4 receivers to the left. That's where Harris goes once more, and it's C.J. Gable once more. Now Harris is developing a little rhythm. Actually, that's Natea J on that far side who made that catch. Here is what they have done on both sides.
You see the numbers. Terrific start for these Edmonton Eskimos, and Rod, for a team that has very much emphasized being a team and playing for each other, and it's not offense and defense, it's all about team. Not really surprising to see them performing the way they are in all aspects.
Harris once more against the grain. That was a dangerous pass had Tanner Green hung on. It'll be 2nd down. Harris has fit right into this offense. How about another stat? The fact that this O-line has been so good at protecting Trevor Harris. Just 1 sack allowed. It also says a lot about the way that Harris delivers the football.
Yeah, well, I mean, a combination of the offensive line, the job of the quarterback, also the job of Jason Moss in terms of calling plays. He wants the ball out quickly.
Out quickly once more. It's pitched. Looking for Ricky Collins, and Greg Reed has his 3rd interception of the young season. An Alouettes team forcing a second turnover with 2.5 to go in the opening quarter. The Heat getting to the Eskimos right now. And the Alouettes turning it up defensively. Streak is over.
Yeah, 228 consecutive pass attempts without an interception. Keep an eye here on the halfback. Greg Reed, you talk about a guy getting a jump on the ball. This isn't a guy breaking to the football. Greg Reed, the halfback, he's really not moving backwards at all. He's sitting with an eye on the flat, waiting, reading the patterns, reading the routes for that break to come. And for Trevor Harris, not really time to sort things out and figure out what the halfback is doing because there's going to be pressure. Watch John Bowman coming from the top of the screen. Splits what would be a double team to impact Trevor Harris. Passes off the mark. Greg Reed takes advantage and creates the second Edmonton Eskimo turnover of the ball game.
As Dwayne said, 228 pass completions before an interception. That's 5th best ever. CFL record 323 set by Darian Durant. Adams, oh, he's swarmed and sacked. Everybody got in on that. They were on a roll. Armando Sewell in there. They punished Vernon Adams.
Yeah, combination. Armando Sewell definitely a big part of that. The first man in from his D tackle spot.
You ever wonder what it's like to have about 800 pounds lying on top of you? That's what it felt for Vernon Adams just now. 2nd and 13. 3-man rush. Adams decides to go, and he saw Vontae Diggs bearing down on him and wisely decided to slide. And so no points will come off of this turnover.
Well, good stand there from the Eskimo defense. You know, interesting to see Adams slide and Diggs let him go. You remember these two had a similar meeting in week 1. Diggs initially got flagged for hitting the sliding quarterback, even though he actually did a decent job of avoiding him.
Beatty with a towering punt. Martese Jackson again going backwards. And takes a heavy lick from Greg Reed. Ty Cranston was able to corner him, set him up for Reed, who applied the finishing touch on a 49-yard kick. Again, this is the first half of our doubleheader coming up. Mike Riley against William Powell and the Rough Riders. Solomon Elamimian as well against his old team. Coming up tonight from Mosaic, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Two teams struggling out of the gate in the early season.
Both looking to get themselves in that mix in the CFL's West Division. You know, a couple faces mentioned moving in free agency from BC to Sask. Elamimian, Matt Yarcino as well made that move.
Play action once more for Harris. Another good defensive play. Taylor Loeffler back in at free safety for the second straight week after missing 2 games with injury. The former Blue Bomber All-Star.
And it seems you're starting to see this Alouette secondary, another of the groups on this team, really starting to come together. Again, a matter of getting people healthy, getting bodies in the lineup. Chris Aki, another one, having re-signed after sitting out as a free agent for a while.
Trying to go over the top to Greg Ellingson, his second down security valve that goes back, of course, to Ottawa last year. Ellingson coming over, going west along with Trevor Harris in the offseason. But again, it'll be kick time. Hugh O'Neill coming out, 28 seconds to go. Last time that Trevor Harris gave up a pick in the regular season, last October, ironically.
Yeah, October 13th against his new team, the Edmonton Eskimos.
228 pass attempts. Again, Taylor, the new returner here in Montreal. Steph Logan being released this week. Longtime kick returner in Montreal. Kahari Jones has been the star of this reality show in Montreal this year?
Well, I'll tell you, the thing is, Kahari Jones has the kind of personality that, regardless of all else that has gone on here in the early part of the season, has the kind of personality to provide some stability, to guide this ship through a storm of ownership change, head coaching change.
Oh, what a terrific run. Jeremiah Johnson turns to the field on the final play of quarter one. The Alouettes lead 7-0. Guess who we have in the booth when we come back? One of your heroes, man. You got to be excited. GSP is here. George St. Pierre, MMA star, football fan. And Dwayne Ford wants to take him on. No. We'll roll on from Montreal next. Well, prior to today's game, the great George St. Pierre, one of the best MMA fighters ever. Honored before the game, getting an Alouettes jersey. He's not wearing the jersey now. Welcome to the Octagon here. It is a sweatbox. Good to see you again. Tell us about the pregame. Tell us about being here today.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great event. It's for the whole family. It's in city center of Montreal. It's for everybody, so I came to be entertained as well.
You've got a big UFC event coming up this evening.
Yeah.
Any predictions?
Well, it's always it's a veteran against a newcomer, you know. Dos Anjos, I think we'll get him.
Yeah,
I think so. Yes.
Hey, can you call some football? I don't know how big of a football fan you are. Did you ever play the game?
I never did. I played touch when I was very young, maybe one or twice, but I did track and field, so I guess it's pretty similar thing, except you don't get hit when you run.
What kind of a football player, if you did play? I mean, 40. Where would you see George St. Pierre fitting into your lineup?
I'm with Under Armour, so I've been told by the Under Armour guys that I would be because my physique and the physicality. If I would have had to play, the best position for me would be like defensive back.
Yeah,
I would not be a lineman for sure. I'm too small.
You can't kick anybody though. You could be a good kicker.
Well, yeah, I could. Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Here goes Vernon Adams going deep here. Quad break coming back and unable to hang on. Have you been a football fan?
I don't know much about football. I didn't have the chance to watch a lot of game. I've met many of the players, professional players before, and Etienne Boulay is a friend of mine, and I used to play for the Alouettes. I like to watch it. They're incredible athletes, you know. Like I can see a guy and know when I see an athlete, and they're amazing.
Well, we always say that there's no real way to get in shape to play football other than playing football, but it would seem like MMA training might be the closest thing. Are you starting to see athletes from other sports starting to adopt some of the training techniques?
I think not only the training, I think it is the mentality, the art of war mentality, and I think it's the same thing, you know. It's the same principles, and when you put that in perspective, whether you're a fighter or a football player or a hockey player or whatever the sport you do, it's the same principle. It's the principle of the art of war. The modern sport is basically a war because now we're more civilized, so it's a competition between each other.
Hang on, we want to ask you some more questions. Stay with us. We'll be back with George St. Pierre in Montreal on Family Day. Back in Montreal, Eskimo fans have traveled well. Their team down 7-0. Edmonton with the football here. Early second quarter. Rod Black, Dwayne Ford, John Liu on the sideline, and our new football analyst, George St. Pierre, with us.
I still have a lot to learn from you guys.
I think you could teach these guys a thing or two about tackling, though, the takedowns.
I don't know. It's a different game. You change the rules, you change the game.
There have been a few CFLers, by the way. I think of Chad Owens the last couple of years who have, dabbled in MMA. I want to ask you though now.
I train with some of them. I run track too. It's part of my training. And some of the football players, they do it with the same guys I do. So it's a cross training. It's always interesting.
2nd and 7 for Harris. Dumping it off far side. And it's Tavares Daniels close to a first down. So I have to ask you, you've been training, haven't been fighting. Are you going to fight again?
I don't think so. I'm retired. The odds are pretty low. It would take something very interesting. And
how about Khabib?
Look, we tried to make the fight with Khabib happen. Unfortunately, UFC had other plans. Khabib won it. I won it. Now I cannot twiddle my tongue and wait for UFC to change our mind because I'm getting older and I have to move on in life. So the chances are very low. It would take something incredibly special, you know.
Now, would you take $20 to hit Rod Black right now?
It's my friend, okay? No, friends don't hit each other. So now that was another third down play here for the Eskimos. They did not get it. And it is a stop. It is a penalty. And it looks like Montreal turned them over on downs again.
Procedure. Montreal's left guard. 5-yard penalty, third down.
How about this? So it is a 5-yard penalty. Well, they're turning them back, so it is going back. Alouettes felt that they had turned it over. Kahari Jones. Bit of a confusion here.
Yeah, the explanation didn't really match exactly what has happened here, but
Alouettes felt they had turned that over on a procedure call.
Yeah, so based on how we're lining up, we have a procedure call that's going to result in a third down for the Eskimos, giving them a chance to punt rather than turning it over on downs.
Ari Jones still seeking an explanation on that. The side of the foot. Taylor knocked out of bounds. Hey, you have we have a lot of fans, you know that. This guy, coach of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Okay.
One of your biggest fans.
Really?
Listen in.
You're talking about the best, arguably the best fighter of all time. Obviously the best Canadian fighter of all time. I've been watching MMA for quite a long time and remember George coming up and becoming a champion, losing it, and then becoming a champion again. And that's as impressive as anything because it's really about how you are when you face a little adversity, and he faced it extremely well.
So nice. It's very nice.
What does George St. Pierre do for fun?
It was a surprise. I like paleontology. Outside of training, I like
that's right.
Paleontology. Yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd that is athletic.
You had that show for a while too, right? You were busy working on it.
Yeah, I had a show, and I like to do it by myself too. Just to go watch the Eskimos of Edmonton. They actually located. Edmonton is one of the best places for our paleontology. We don't have much in Montreal because of the erosion, but Edmonton.
Look at you.
I would go watch one of the game of Alouettes against Edmonton. In Edmonton, I would for sure take a time to go to the museum and meet some of the guys there.
Some of the greatest digs ever have been through the Badlands in Alberta.
Absolutely.
So again, the Alouettes will boot it back. Well, we thank you for joining us. Thanks for being here today, and
thanks to you to have me, to receive me here. It's a pleasure, guys.
And you're sure you're not coming back?
It will take. You never say never. It will take something big.
$20.
You never know.
Right now.
All right, thanks.
You never know, but I'm 38.
That's all right.
Being the best fighter in the world right now, it's not my #1 priority anymore. It used to be for many years. Now I'm trying. Health is more important.
You're still #1 in everybody's heart.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. George St. Pierre joining us. The Alouettes leading 7-0 in Montreal. Well, Irish eyes could be smiling tomorrow, 6 a.m. Eastern, Royal Portrush in Ireland. 3 a.m. Pacific. Bad weather coming in tomorrow, presented by Asante Wealth Management. Our coverage of the Open Championship. I say Irish eyes could be smiling. The Shane Lowry has a 4-shot lead. The Irishman heading into the final round. But again, some bad weather coming in tomorrow. Clouds coming in here late in the afternoon. They're expecting some rain tonight as CJ Gable goes up the gut. Gets the Eskimos out of the shadows of their goalpost. Great to see George St. Pierre.
Hey, one of Canada's greatest athletes.
Not one of the biggest guys in the world, too. And he's so unassuming. And, you know, gets in the octagon and he's an assassin.
Yeah, I mean, a technician, you know, obviously remarkable athleticism, but within the sport in general, to be a champion in a sport that, you know, tests your toughness, both physical and mental.
Tavares Daniels twirls up close to a first down. They're going to give him progress here. It'll be close to another first down. I'm still a little confused about what happened earlier on that third down play. Alouettes look to stop the Eskimos. There was a procedure call against Edmonton. I think Kahari Jones is seeking an explanation, a clarification as well.
Yeah, and we'll certainly work on getting that.
You would decline the penalty. Take the ball.
Correct. Yeah, and you saw Kahari had kind of extended debate with the officials.
Well, the only other clarification could be the procedure may have happened before that play started.
5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
So another procedure call on a short yardage play. This was second down, and that's maybe the only explanation, is that the procedure happened before the play began. 9.5 to go before halftime. An Eskimo team, though, if they have one blemish in all the analytics and stats, it's penalties. They're last in the CFL, penalties and yardage. Take a lot of flags. Harris goes over the top. And for Collins once more, Enoch Mwamba, as Harris was knocked down in the backfield.
Now that defensive line appeared to be a 3-man rush, getting through and getting a little bit of pressure on Trevor Harris once again. John Bowman in on the Eskimos quarterback that time.
Eskimo team that has yet to put a point on the board. Second quarters are their big quarters this season. They're plus 42 in their 4 games played. The Alouettes, on the other hand, minus 40. Again, early in the season, some of those numbers a little skewed. Here's Taylor. Taylor gets smothered by Jason Tuck. 48-yard kick, and the Owls do a great job on do a great job on the cover team. Owls will start at their 48. Let's go down to the sideline here, and here's John Liu.
Well, thank you, Rod. And when the Alouettes players found out about Kavis Reed's firing last Sunday, they had basically more than a day to process what had happened before going back to work. However, Kahari Jones said the day 1 practice on Tuesday was not the team's best, and he sensed an emotional undercurrent as a result of the firing. So when he addressed the team, he said that it was important for the players to acknowledge Kavis Reed's role in building the current roster, regardless of what had happened and what was being said and speculated on outside the dressing room. And basically that's the same thing that Jones said to Reed when he called him up to wish him the best and to thank him for his work that he had put in with the team. Guys?
Yep. It was a crazy week. It's been a crazy early season for the Alouettes. Zach Parker still waiting for his first CFL catch. Thought he had one here.
He got rocked that time. Parker again, one of those getting an opportunity this week with DeVere Posey and BJ Cunningham both out of the lineup. Posey on the 6-game injured list. BJ Cunningham just on the 1 game.
2nd and 10. Vernon wants to go again. Willie tight ropes along that line of scrimmage. He got it away to Quan Bray. And see where the spot is. It's going to be about 1.5 yards. Well, just a yard short of the first down. Great escape from Vernon Adams. And able to connect with Quan Bray in his 3rd game as an Alouette. Former star from Auburn.
Yeah, Bray is a guy for whom they have high hopes. He finds himself maybe thrust into a bigger role a little sooner than expected with the injuries, but over 100 yards for Quan Bray in the win over Ottawa last week. He was a guy who definitely flashed in the preseason. Had a big touchdown in preseason game here. Also against the Red Blacks.
Double tight end set here on 3rd and 1. And now a stop by the Eskimos on standback. And that play just did not look good from the early going. Mondo got to him in the backfield. And so now the Alouettes turn the ball over on downs.
Yeah, a play that never had a chance to get going. On 3rd down here. Hand off in the backfield. Armando Sewell does what he does best, breaking through the line.
And dancing. The Mondo. Today we celebrate Special Olympics Global Day of Inclusion. It's not too late to celebrate the transformative power of sport and inclusion by visiting your local Tim Hortons and buying the Special Olympics Canada Donut, created by Special Olympics athlete Tori Ranson from Georgetown, Ontario. Probably saw her in the ads with Jay and Dan. 100% of the proceeds today go to support Special Olympics programs across Canada. #ChoosetoInclude. Get your donuts. Trevor Harris goes running and scampers out and very close to moving the sticks once more. What a strange start to this one. Couple of turnovers on downs. Had a lot of traction.
Yeah, the Eskimos, who have been this offensive juggernaut through the first month or so of the season, seem to be really struggling to find any sort of rhythm. Just 2 of 8 on 2nd down conversions for them so far here tonight. So hard to get in their groove.
They go flea flicking. Harris goes trucking. And Ricky Collins, there's going to be an interference call, so it's going to work out. Bag of tricks.
Pass interference. Montreal 25. Point of foul. Automatic. 1st down.
As they say in Montreal, touche.
Well, the pass interference call is going to give the Edmonton Eskimos a big play, essentially, on this. They had 2 receivers going deep, Ricky Collins being one of them. He gets in behind Tommy Campbell and draws the flag. Now, if they had thrown to the other side, keep an eye. Kenny Stafford out wide on the other side. Corner's going to play the run. Halfback's going to fall down on the hash mark. He leads Stafford and he walks into the end zone.
They're in the red zone inside the 20. A chance to tie this ball game up. CJ Gable runs into a wall, initiated by Taylor Loeffler. So a key 2nd down. So Trevor Harris goes to the flea flicker. Already had some razzle early in the ball game. Gino Lewis hitting Vernon Adams after a reverse. Interesting chess match between the 2 former star quarterbacks, now coaches. Harrison is shotgun once more. 2nd and goal. Looks once, looks another time. Now he goes over the middle, nobody home. Incomplete, no flags on the play. So now 3rd and goal, and the kick team is coming out.
And we'll kind of take a look from Trevor Harris's perspective on this when he sees an opportunity to step up. It looked almost like that one got away from him as he tried to throw it.
Almost slipped out of his hand.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, it was a lot of sweat on the pigskin today. So humid, so hot. Again, the clouds have come over, cooling it a bit. Sean White missed his first field goal of 2019, but has made 14 straight. The former Alouette kicker puts Edmonton on the board here with 5:10 to go before halftime.
Available intelligent around view monitor and standard rear cross traffic alert. Don't settle for less than the Nissan Rogue.
Vontae Dakes getting into it as they're getting ready to line up once more. Trash talk going on down there. You know what? This kind of weather makes everybody grumpy. Boy, the big bodies, though, at halftime, they're extending halftime by 4 minutes here. Just so that the therapists, the trainers, the doctors, everybody can get a little more hydration.
Well, I heard they're actually doing that because Sanchez has a lot to say today, and he needed a little more time.
Yeah, for sure. To give some panel time. Sanchez used to roam these parts. He's a member of the Alouettes. Great player in his time.
But in all seriousness, actually, it was something that was kind of suggested and agreed upon by the medical staffs from both teams, feeling that with the heat, a little bit of extra recovery and rehydration time would be a good idea. You know, we joked with Georges St. Pierre off camera that there would be no problem getting down to fighting weight in this weather. And you imagine some of the 300-pounders down there and, you know, in shoulder pads, which is essentially like wearing a suit of insulation.
Thank goodness for the cloud cover right now. Crossing pattern. And once again, it's Quan Bray. Had a chance to sit down and chat with Quan. Spent some time in the National Football League. Guy who played in Indianapolis with Andrew Luck and the Bills in Houston, and now really happy to be up here in Canada playing in the CFL, but he's still getting used to the rules.
Yeah, still figuring some of it out, but he says he likes the waggle. Getting
Loves
an opportunity to play in the slot. He says for a speed guy, the waggle can be your best friend.
Stand back. His best run of the late afternoon into Edmonton territory and a first down.
I'm not convinced that the Alouettes didn't get away with a hold on the perimeter here. Keep an eye on the left side of your screen as Stanback takes this one around the edge. This looked like a couple of Edmonton defenders had their blockers outflanked, but somehow couldn't manage to escape.
7-3 ball game. Alouettes look to add to this lead. Last play before the warning. Lots of motion. Sending it out to Johnson. Jeremiah Johnson trying to shake Larry Dean, and down inside the 5. Larry Dean had to chase down JJ, former BC Lion.
Number 96.
And this is going to stand.
Result of the play is a first down.
That was a flag down, so Jeremiah Johnson getting some touches here and a significant impact.
I was intrigued when I saw the roster this week and saw Johnson coming on to join William Stanback to see some of the things they could do to take a little bit of heat off of number 31.
3-minute warning in the heat before halftime.
Georges St. Pierre can appreciate the importance of defense, and the Alouettes have certainly done a good job of that. We're going to talk about that. Edmonton 2 up until the big play by Jeremiah Johnson. We'll look ahead to BC and Saskatchewan. Nice and cool here in the studio. How about there, Rod, Dwayne?
Yeah, you sons of guns. Man. I'm probably a little cool. A little too cold in the studio today. Temperature not falling a bit here, and the Alouettes are going to punch this in. Jeremiah squirms down close to the goal line. He'll go second and goal now. And there is a thunder and lightning component now to this Alouettes backfield when you think about it.
Yeah, there certainly is, although, you know, the way both of these guys run, and Stanback in particular, it provides both the thunder and the lightning all in one. But I think when you're a team that wants to be able to rely on its run game a little bit, especially in weather like this, if you can keep your running back somewhat fresh by having two guys going, it helps.
Vernon Adams can't get home. They get two Adams for a sack in the backfield.
The other piece of this for me, particularly when you look at the way that Stanback has produced over the last couple of weeks, you're going to get teams keying on him, and you've got to be able to create some different looks offensively. You know, maybe as time goes on, they may be able to get both of these guys on the field at the same time to create some looks where people may key on Stanback, but you've got another rushing threat in Jeremiah Johnson on the field.
So the Alouettes will not go for it. Instead, they bring Boris Beatty out, who's Made 8 of 10 this young season. Kind of like Sean White earlier, just a little chippy from the 10-yard line. Likely had they not lost almost 2 yards on that play, they'd probably go for it, but it would have been 3rd and goal from the 3. So they regain the 7-point lead with just under 2 minutes to play before halftime.
Yep. Maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity there for the Alouettes, but nonetheless, they have to feel pretty good about the way the first 28 minutes of this football game have gone.
That's what you have to do today. Lots of those ice towels. If those guys don't want it, you bring it up here, please.
Well, and as hot as it is in the booth, and trust me, it is hot, I feel for John Lew at field level.
Well, John's wearing the special 2-piece suit today. CJ Gable. John Bowman, the vet, just celebrated his 37th birthday a couple of days ago. Wraps him up, rips him down.
Having himself a pretty good first half, couple of pressures. Already in this ball game for him.
Another 2nd down conversion attempt here for the Eskimos. Heyman operating at 53%. Laying out. Now 3 for 11 on 2nd down, so the Alouettes defense amping it up here.
And usually when you see numbers like that in terms of 2nd down conversions, you know, you think that the offense is constantly in 2nd and long all the time, but it hasn't just been that. It's been a little bit of the Eskimos malfunctioning themselves when they've been in short yardage situations too.
Ari Jones told us yesterday to harass Harris. You got to bring some pressure and different looks at times. Confuse them, confuse that offense. So far, job well done for the Alouettes in the first half. 90 seconds to play. High snap for Hugh O'Neill. Oh, what an awkward bounce. Taylor picking it up, and he's dropped at the 20 in his first game returning for the Alouettes. So on a hot day, that's what you do. There's our man, Johnny Lew. Jay Lew, look at him. Water and the shorts, color and the fashion. He's got it all going on.
He's a beauty.
There is no one who dresses better than that guy. Wish we had the shorts going. On second thought. So Vernon Adams back at it. Five of 10 for Vernon. 57 yards, first half numbers. For Quan Bray, so a chance for the Eskimos to hold here. They could get the ball back and could have good field position. Also an opportunity for Adams to get to his receivers. A couple of strikes they could get in field goal position. Add some points here before halftime. An Alouette team that has not beaten the Eskimos since 2013. 11 straight losses. Quan Bray, great play by Taekwon Glass. Jake Weineke was trying to supply a block there, could not. Glass came flying through.
Yeah, Weineke was in position, but just a terrific read and explosion to the football from the former Alouette Taekwon Glass to break that one up. If Weineke could get on him just a split second earlier to allow Bray to step inside, that one might have gone a long way.
Such a defensive first half. 11 to and outs. Has not been a masterpiece by any stretch. Both offenses struggling. So Martese Jackson is near his 45-yard line. Harris, Beatty. Lofts one. Down to the 40. Jackson. Converged on once more. A good starting point for Trevor Harris and the Eskimos. Plenty of time.
Yeah, it certainly is for a veteran quarterback to go to work here, particularly a guy like Harris who's somewhat used to operating in hurry-up mode, even if not necessarily in the final minute of a half.
10 of 19 for Trevor Harris so far, 71 yards. He's also thrown his first interception of 2019.
Sean White's long on the season is 47 yards. Field goal attempt.
15 straight though. Boris Daniels, former Stampeder, former Rookie of the Year. What a good get. As he goes north, kind of like a Yankee going to the Red Sox, or a Flame going to the Oilers, or I guess an Oiler going to a Flame. Milan Lucic. And there's Papa Daniels, Philip Daniels, Philadelphia Eagles defensive line coach.
Sporting that Georgia Bulldogs hat to go with his Eskimo gear.
There's a Georgian star. There's his son again. Boris Daniels really born to be a ball player. His dad, Philip, longtime NFLer.
Had a little bit of a scrum on the field, but Tavares suggested to us yesterday this might be the last weekend that his dad
He's going to get a little busy, isn't he?
Come and see him play in person as NFL training camps prepare to open. Dad's got to get back to work.
Pops played
After
with the
play,
Redskins.
Unnecessary roughness. Edmonton number 67. 15-yard penalty will be a first down.
Penalties still plaguing the Eskimos. Colin Kelly. And this wipes out the Daniels reception.
Yeah, watch 67 bearing down on the pile, and he just puts a shot on Tommy Campbell.
Let's see some more Daniels on this sequence. Harris goes against the grain. And to the near side, Ricky Collins, there's a flag down, but I think Trevor Harris had been over the line of scrimmage and threw that. Although he's saying it's against the Alouettes. Again, Tom Valesi's our referee today. They have a little committee. Line of scrimmage was the 43.5.
Roughing the passer. Montreal number 93. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
So that wasn't the call. It was roughing the passer. Trevor Harris playing referee got that right. Antonio Simmons guilty party. And now makes it very interesting with 35 seconds to go before halftime.
Harris steps up.
Just at that line of scrimmage as he delivered. Now to the 33-yard line. A pump and a deep ball and diving for it, making the catch. Spectacular. Kenny Stafford, touchdown.
Not so fast.
Yeah, there is a flag down in the backfield. It looks like it's coming back.
I saw Colin Kelly looking like he was protesting, so
10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Kenny Stafford is hating this day so far. Former Alouette.
Yeah, well-placed ball, and Stafford does a nice job to go get it, to accelerate away from the defender. Make the diving catch, but all for naught.
28 to go before halftime. This is a great grab by Stafford.
Extending, make sure he gets the arms underneath to secure that catch as he goes down.
Touchdown off the board.
Yeah.
Kenny Stafford off the highlight reel. That sucks. Harris, far side. Matea J. Oh! Tried to fly over top of the defender, Ryan Carter. Taya J coming off one of his breakout performances last week.
Over 100 yards receiving.
Touchdown.
The native. Had a big play. Trevor Harris joked about how he gets credit for the 70-yard touchdown pass, but figures he should have been credited for about 5 yards, and Nate should get all the rest.
Second down and 11. Eskimos have to be smart here with the clock. Maybe a chance for 3 plays. Harris to a J once more. Enoch Mwamba with a punishing blow. Half the first down yardage. Clock comes down to 12. Maybe time now for just 1 play, and you'd have to bring out the field goal unit. And it's 3rd and 4. They'll have to do that anyway.
Pretty good collision here as Jay looks to get to that first down marker, but the man in the middle, Enoch Mwamba, brings him down.
So Sean White, 15 in a row. Last play before halftime. An Eskimo team that throws a lot of points on the board this season. A lot of yards on the board this season. But they only have 6 points at the half thanks to Sean White. The Alouettes have 10. Defenses rule in the first half. In this heat wave in Montreal, 10-6 the score at the half, an extended halftime, allowing the players a little more rehydration as we get ready for the second half upcoming. Here's Rod Smith and our panel back in the studio.
Thank you very much, Rod. Make sure you and Dwayne rehydrate as well. Back with Ches and Maddie and Milton. What were you saying before the game? Big key to this one was?
Well, yeah, the defense of the Alouettes, with their 2 top receivers out, they're going to have to play great defense. They did that. I mean, you look at what they did. That's as good as they could possibly played in the first half, holding the Eskimo team to 3 points.
Without a doubt. And you look at this Montreal Alouette defensive backfield, they're not like there's some slouches. You got some all-stars back there.
Right.
You got Campbell, you got Evans, and of course you got the former Bomber Loeffler. And these guys are making plays, and you're holding Trevor Harris to this first half to 100 yards. That's an accomplishment. This man comes into the game averaging 340 yards a game, 8 touchdowns and 0 interceptions, and of course they force him into their first interception in this game. So this is good on this defense. This allows Vernon Adams, Vaz as I like to call him, for that offense to get going.
You're going to stop saying that. What's the commonality?
Those initials, Vaz, Vernon Adams Jr.
That's
Vernon Adams Jr., very methodical.
Vaz.
Okay.
The one commonality.
Clarification, Rod.
Thank you. The commonality with these guys on defense, like Loeffler, Levels, Mwamba, they're all physical guys,
like
and you see it. They're flying around and making it difficult for there's a track team out there with Edmonton Eskimos offense. They're tough to play against.
Got to slow them down.
I think that's what kept Montreal Edmonton in the ball game is defense on their side of the football.
Yeah.
They've been stellar up front. You know what they've done to the BC Lions a couple times already this year, just wreaking havoc on one of the best quarterbacks in the CFL. And they're not making things easy for Vernon Adams either. And that is just getting there. That's Mike Moore getting after it in here. Just a bat down, and you got to get in the face of the quarterback, making it tough on him in here. This is a jailbreak, and that's everybody having a little barbecue on Saturday afternoon at Vernon Adams. And here, this is just more pressure and a run, stop, and cheer. That is Usher getting after it, and this guy's having a whale of a game. Amondale Sewell, run stoppage. That's 3rd and short there.
He's been tearing up that interior. We noticed a few times.
A few bull rushes where he's just pushing him right back into the quarterback.
And it's almost like he set the mold for the interior defensive linemen and what they should look like, because Winnipeg went out and got a couple, and they're outstanding. And I just absolutely love this play in the middle. So, in a 10-6 ball game and a half, you got to talk defense, and it starts with that defensive interior line, and then those the guys in the back end start feasting, as you know, Davis.
Well, we'll talk defense, but we still are offensive guys, Matt. And what about Kahari Jones taking a page out of Paul LaPolice's book? He learned under Paul, of course, best years as a quarterback under Paul with that play for the touchdown that went to Vaz for the touchdown. So that was creative, and when you're in a position area, that's what you have to do sometimes. You have to be creative. This was an excellent drive. We see Vernon Adams, Vaz, as I like to call him. He's just maturing and improving game in and game out. And Matt, you talked about he doesn't want to stop using his legs. He has that ability. Very few quarterbacks can do that, but he's using his legs and his passing, and you have to love it. And this play right here, this is excellent. You know, this is something you work on in practice. You can only do it once, maybe 4 or 5 games, and you hope it is successful, and it was for him.
He did that last week against Avery Williams and walk-in touchdown, left him hanging, and then he did it again. Yeah, I love the fact that he's using his athletic ability as a secondary complementary aspect of his game. He's using his receivers as best he can because there are 2 guys down there, DeVere Posey and Cunningham, and I've been impressed, and I like the addition also of Jeremiah Johnson on the offensive side of football, sprinkling in a little bit of I think I heard Rod Black say thunder and lightning. Yeah, I love it.
So they have to get the ball to these playmakers in the second half. What does Montreal now have to do offensively to win this game without those top 2 receivers? What do they have to do?
Well, I think the main thing is they just have to continue throwing the ball down the field. I like the fact when you throw the ball downfield, and I know Vaz has been getting pressure a little bit. Why are you laughing, Rob?
I'm laughing because since when is he the host? I thought I asked the questions here. I noticed I was cut out of the camera there a bit.
You haven't noticed that about Davis? He laughs.
It's all right. It's all good.
I got a pay increase, too.
I'm going to write down another suggested question. Go ahead and answer his question, though, seriously.
I think it's taking care of the football. I don't think it's so much being aggressive. I think it's taking care of the football. And I think that's going to be critical in the last 30 minutes of play. And I think this heat's going to play a factor, too.
Yes.
Right? Rod, the body goes, the mind will follow.
Yeah,
Rod, do you think that Montreal has what it takes without their top 2 receivers? Rod, can they win this game in the second half?
They need more Kenny Stafford in the second half.
Why do they need Kenny Stafford?
Well, somebody might have had him in fantasy. But Kenny had that drop and that turnover on downs. The Alouettes took it back. Kenny had a touchdown reception. I want to be an analyst now. Kenny had that touchdown. There's callback Colin Kelly on the holding, which is,
the Edmonton Eskimos are going to get going in the second half. So for sure, the Owls have got to put some points early in this board because for sure Edmonton's going to score. So Montreal's going to score.
I was going to say, what do we have coming up?
You know what?
Who's coming up later?
Coming up, we're going to talk about the next game of this doubleheader on TSN. Get out of here.
Who's playing?
Calgary and Sask. No, they're not playing. Who's playing?
Chaz, you're fired.
It is a sizzler. The Hill at McGill Stadium in Montreal. Adams with a great fake there. What a juke by Vernon Adams. Now maybe a reverse, maybe a flea flicker. It is. It's Lewis to Adams. Touchdown. How about that? My, oh, my, oh, my.
Day. Later on today, part 2 of the doubleheader, BC struggling Lions at 1-4 against the 1-3 Saskatchewan Roughriders. And the question remains, Matty, can that BCO line start protecting Mike Riley? He's been under siege this year.
That's a big-time question. If I'm Mike Riley over the last 10 days since they played last Thursday, I'm barbecuing for those guys. I'm feeding them. I'm making sure they're okay. I'm sure they're making sure that they get the rest. I just think that they need to come together because, look, this football team can't push the ball down the field, and they're not able to do it. In fact, they least amount of explosive plays in the Canadian Football League, and it's all because this guy, one of the best, and not the best quarterback in the Canadian Football League over the last 7 years, has been under duress. And we say it all the time, and you'll hear Odell Willis, he'll say it too. Pressure breaks pipes, and it's breaking Mike Riley and that BC Lions offense right now. So you got to find a way to mix it up, and I don't like the fact that he's in the spot 7 yards deep every time. And defense is pinning their ears back. You got to move it and figure out a way to change the launching point and establish that line of scrimmage.
Man, I'm not feeding him. I want him to come to the game hungry. I'm not giving him anything. I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, I'll water him down after the game, but if they do a good job.
And it's going to be tough on him. You think about it. You got Micah Johnson. He's having a good year. He hasn't had a good year as far as sacks go.
He's doing yeoman's work inside, though.
Exactly. And how would he love to get his first sack against his former defensive coordinator, Devon Claybrooks? And we know Charleston Hughes is going to try to come out and destroy these guys. And you got to find a way to protect Mike Riley. Mike Riley is always voted the toughest guy in the CFL. But I don't care how tough you are. He can't continue getting hit like that and think this team is going to have any type of success.
Why do we keep talking about this? It's like 6 weeks in, we're still talking about
the story hasn't changed, though.
So why hasn't it changed? There's got to be, what's the solution? And there's got to be a solution to this because it's going to happen again today. You look at the offensive line, there's 3 new guys in 3 positions. two of them being offensive tackles. I mean, is anything going to change today?
Well, the thing they're going to have to change, they're going to have to change the ratio. Because when you have Canadian offensive linemen, it's hard, let's be honest about it. It's hard to go out there and find quality
just in terms
backup.
of depth, right?
Exactly. So they're going to have to change the ratio
they have to change
if they want to change it.
I agree. They got to bring in some guys, NFL camps.
You got to continue to mix it up too, fellas. You got to be able to pound the football, and you got to let those big boys eat up front, Milt. And you got to let them establish line of scrimmage with hitting somebody in the mouth as opposed to trying to protect Mike 24/7.
So feed him first, water him down afterwards.
There you go,
Speaking of water him down, boy, there's a lot of heat in Montreal. And, well, you got this game coming up, the Lions and the Riders at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific afterwards. But in Montreal right now, late field goal by the Edmonton Eskimos, Riley's old team, closing it to a 4-point lead. But the heat, touche, something to talk about, too. As the fans still enjoy a beautiful day in Montreal nonetheless. Second half's coming up. As always at halftime, Milt, there's a stat for that.
Well, this first half was dominated by both of these defenses. You look at the Montreal Alouettes, only 165 yards, and Edmonton Eskimos only 145. The highlight of the first half had to be the trick play from Eugene Lewis to
Vernon Adams Jr., and here is the only guy to throw a touchdown pass, Eugene Lewis with John Lou.
Eugene, the fact that you played quarterback back in high school, I guess that made you the perfect candidate to connect with Vernon Adams Jr. on that flea flicker.
Yeah, absolutely. Had a couple throws last year, completed them. We had practice this week, put in another one, and just thank the Lord Jesus Christ for giving me the opportunity, pass to the VA, made one miss, and finished it off for me.
Pretty good feeling. Your quarterback rating's probably over 100 then.
Yeah, it's over 100 since last year. You know what I mean? I'm just going to try to keep completing them and keep making plays, man.
Against a defense like Edmonton, how important is it for you guys to take every possible advantage, whether that's penalties on the opposite side, turnovers, what you have been doing in the first half?
It's huge. The defense is playing excellent right now. We got to compliment them and keep executing on offense. We're getting some drives. We're moving it. We just got to finish.
Thanks for this, Eugene.
All right, thanks.
Eugene Lewis, receiver, talking like a quarterback there, too. And he had the toss to Adams. And Montreal with the lead, but it's been a defensive battle so far. Only 16 points on the board. Second half kickoff coming up. Rod and Dwayne, TSN.
Just 10-6 in the heat under the clouds now in Montreal as we get ready for the third quarter. Only 6 points on the board for the Edmonton Eskimos, a team that normally scores a lot more than that. Here's their head coach, Jason Moss, with our John Lou.
Jason, because penalties have been a recurring theme for your club this season, how did you address that at halftime?
We talked about it before. This game is going to be good, bad, and ugly, and we needed to weather the storm. So it was all in that half. It's all over net with now. We got to go out here and play determined football for 30 minutes to get a victory, come hell or high water.
To what extent was Montreal's defense responsible for your offense have been finding difficulty in getting traction?
They're doing a great job. I mean, we're hurting ourselves and with penalties to get ourselves off the field in short situations, but in second and long, they've been very good. We've got to be better.
Thanks for this, Jason.
Thank you.
Here's a man who wears his emotions. He is a fired-up head coach, Jason Moss. He's one of those guys, when you talk to his players love playing for a guy like Jason Moss.
Yeah, I'm a Jason Moss fan all the way. He's genuine. Yeah. Right? Jason is true to who he is.
He's also a guy who, the waning stages of his playing career, actually was in Montreal for a short period. Anthony Calvillo, Marcus Brady were around at the time, and Moss, again, like Kahari Jones, an outstanding quarterback at his time, and they've stayed on the sidelines now as head coaches of their respective teams. So, the Eskimos will get the ball here. Boris Beatty will kick this off to start the second half. Martise Jackson, another cutback, and special teams have been good tonight. Ty Cranston got to Jackson first, and Trevor Harris trying to improve on his numbers. The biggest blemish was that pick, his first of 2019.
Yeah, Harris 15-24 in the first half of this ball game. 62.5% completion rate. You know, which is normally okay, but when you're Trevor Harris, who's usually a 70+% guy, again, 117 yards in that interception.
Well, the Owls have been frothing from the mouth defensively, especially on that front line, providing the pressure. This time they stuffed C.J. Gable. Since the first quarter, story of the ball game has also been defense and ball position on the field and starting points. Edmonton has not done very well.
Yeah, and a little bit of that goes to the offense struggling, a little bit of that goes to turnovers, but Edmonton average starting position in that second quarter in particular, their own 27, 28-yard line, whereas Montreal was out beyond their own 40.
Harris drops it in to Kenny Stafford. Dropped a ball in the first half, had a touchdown taken away, and I have a feeling Kenny Stafford might have something to say before this one is out.
Well, he's certainly a guy who's been very involved offensively for the Edmonton Eskimos. A couple of plays he'd like to have back. One a drop, another a touchdown that was called back because of a holding call.
Taylor Loeffler supplying another big hit. Greg Ellingson has not been that busy so far today. It'll be second down and about 4 to go.
Well, the Alouettes,
season acquisition.
Yeah, really look to beef up that secondary during the offseason. Taylor Loeffler coming in at the safety spot. Of course, Deontay Evans at halfback playing beside him. Patrick Levels at the nickel linebacker spot. But Loeffler in particular, veteran safety presence in the middle of that defense.
Vernon Adams was saying to us yesterday how important it was for the Alouettes, night and day in terms of experience of guys who have been here before, but guys who have also won before in the league, and adding some Grey Cup rings to that secondary, that defense has been huge.
Yeah, he talked a little bit about the professionalism and confidence, as he said. With Deontay Evans, it's a quiet confidence. He said Patrick Levels, not so quiet, but the same confidence that these guys provide on defense. Another guy he talked about, another former Stampeder, Tommy Campbell, wasn't there for the Grey Cup win last year, but really talked about the maturation of Tommy Campbell into a leader in that secondary.
Second down and 4. You saw Tavares Daniels go off with injury. Harris tap dances out, gets the first down. Trevor Harris, who had a unique off-season workout regime with his mom in a dance studio with some tap dancing. We asked him yesterday, do you think it helped with the movement? He said, not really, but it was kind of cool in the off-season to try something a little different.
Well, and fortunately he has the statistics this year to back it up, because otherwise to tell a bunch of football players you spent the offseason training with your mom at the dance studio.
Yeah, why not? Harris pulls it back and lets it fly. And again, it is Stafford. Targeted once more, moves the chains, now into Montreal's side of the field.
Well, this is one of the things that has been interesting, and you expected it, but it's playing out for the Edmonton Eskimos offensively. It seems like a different receiver every week is kind of the heavily targeted guy. Today it's been Kenny Stafford. We've seen in other weeks it's been Greg Ellingson, Ricky Collins. We mentioned Nataya Jay over 100 yards last week. Tavon Smith had a big game in week 2.
On cue, there is Tavon. Patrick Levels with the tackle. It'll be second down and short. Again, an Edmonton team with a lot of preseason prognosticators are talking about the Eskimos and all the changes, losing Mike Riley. Duke Williams, who's no longer here. Every season they seem to lose an all-star receiver. They just plug and play.
Yeah, I mean, really, when you look at a receiving core that got totally overhauled from 2018 to 2019.
Hit screen with the block for Collins. And once again, Deontay Evans comes up to make a huge tackle right at the line of scrimmage. They make it third down. They may have gained a quarter of a yard. Barely moved the ball.
Ricky Collins trailing here. He's going to delay for that hitch screen. Just the pursuit to the football.
It's like
Deontay Evans, they outnumber the blocker. Only one blocker there.
They're going to kick a field goal here. Sean White's longest this season, 47. Has made 16 in a row. This is a long one, though. Marcus Taylor is back. This is from the 48. Kick is up, and it is good. Just got it over the crossbar. Sean White, the former Alouette, makes it a 1-point ball game. The White Knight comes up big here. Longest field goal of the season, riding a 17 field goals made streak. For Special Olympics Canada, big day. Tim Hortons Donuts that are for sale, and one of our great friends, Special Olympics superstar Sebastian Emel Bordeaux from Châteauguay is here. You've got your medals as well.
Yes, I brought my gold medal from the world record in Austria 2 years ago in snowshoeing.
There is Vernon Adams throwing now. Well, welcome today. I know it's a big day for Special Olympics. How important is it for you?
Well, actually, I discovered the Special Olympics on the 8th. I'm a part of it since 2012, and actually it helped me a lot to make friends and have competitions. And already I was a huge sports fan when I was younger, so it just developed with the time. So it's a huge day today for the movement, an amazing movement that helps a lot of people in the shadows to come in the light. And
here you are, snowshoer.
Oh yes, some awesome memories. Seems like it was yesterday.
Now I'm curious, how did you get into the sport of snowshoeing?
Well, actually I started in the Special Olympics in 2012, like I mentioned. And in 2013, I met my first girlfriend, and she was training for track and time. And actually, that's her actually who made me start running. And actually, I learned that in the Special Olympics there was snowshoeing, which was the kind of track in winter. So that's how I started, because actually I was like, hey, if I can run in summer, why not in winter as well? Very good.
Sebastian Emel Bordeaux joins us, a Special Olympian in this global day of inclusion around the world and celebrating what Special Olympic athletes can do, not what they can't do. Athletes with intellectual disabilities. 2nd and 2. For Adams, hands it off up the middle. Looks like he got the first down. And of course, we encourage everybody to go to Tim Hortons today. Sebastian, I know that I know you got a lot of friends out there. We're going to give you one of the. Tim Torrey made one of these donuts.
All right,
of course, there you go.
Thank you very
Dwayne,
much.
You're not a donut guy, but I think you will today.
I'm not a sweet tooth.
We got the donuts. We're going to John Russ and Glenn Goodkey as our spotter. There's Johnny Russ. There he goes. What do you think? Give her a go.
Oh.
That's all right. Wow, Torrey did well.
Very sweetie.
Now, I want to ask you about one thing, because you and I text each other quite often. 40, this guy is the biggest CFL and Montreal Alouettes fan going.
Yes, oh yeah.
When did that love of football and the Alouettes begin?
Well, actually, I started looking at the Alouettes, I would say, in my first real memory was in 2005 when I watched the Grey Cup final of the Alouettes against the Edmonton Eskimos. Just was great. It's our opponents today, but and actually, it's like I said, it's my really farthest memory about the Alouettes, and like I followed them for years since then. Even in those last tough years, it was hard, but actually like we can say, replacing a guy like Calvillo is not something easy. So it was such an amazing quarterback. But that Vernon Adams Jr. is doing a great job.
Have you had a favorite player over the years? Would it be Anthony Calvillo?
Yeah, it will definitely. It will totally be him. Like last man, I met him in the Special Olympic, the Quebec Special Olympics Gala.
Here's our crew, by the way. They're all eating the donuts today. Get out to a Tim Hortons, get your donuts. All proceeds go to Special Olympics. Everybody's eating the donuts. They're good.
Yes, sir.
They're really good.
So actually, last man, and like he was seeing the game like so nicely. And it's not for nothing that he is one of the best quarterbacks in professional football history.
Another first down. Quan Bray, what do you think of the Alouettes' new uniforms and colors this year?
Yeah, they're great. It looks like a lot like the old one. Well, except that the color is quite reversed. Before it was more red and blue. But I'm happy that they stick with the original colors of the organization.
1st and 10 now. Alouettes by 1. 8th play of this drive. Clock ticking down to 6 minutes. Adams in trouble. Throws it off now. And making the cutback once more. Yeah, you can cheer up here. It's okay. You must like this guy too, William Stanback.
Yeah, well, actually, he is doing a great job. Honestly, yeah, he is good. He's good. I just hope it keeps going, but actually, the team is doing so good now. But actually, it's right now my revelation is perhaps more Vernon Adams Jr. because actually I remember that. A few years ago, we were the organization that brought him.
That's right.
And actually, well, let's be honest. Oh, there he's coming.
Call it,
there
Sebastian.
There is coming, Vernon Adams. Stop on the line of 5. Great run.
Before we let you go and enjoy the game, what has Special Olympics meant to you in that great motto, let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt?
Well, actually, already that
Edmonton
the
number
athletes.
19. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
Excuse me. I wanted to the fans to hear the call, but yeah, actually, like we all know, the person with disabilities are already so much in the shadows. So already that they make an effort to be seen, to be recognized, is a huge it's already a huge effort, and with all what they're able to do, with all the heart that they're putting into their training.
There's
the pass, touchdown Alouettes.
Rod Black, you're fired.
That's it, I'm out.
I got a new partner.
Yeah, and it's...
Oh, here's my buddies.
Yeah, Jake Lanicky.
So like I was saying, the Special Olympics athletes have so much heart. They put so much effort in their trainings that it's like when they're just doing a already provincial championship, it's as much an effort to do a 100 meter than doing 5 kilometers. So like how little the race might look like, it's a huge effort from these guys, and like it's their joy of life, their joy of it's all what they bring.
Well, listen, you're an amazing guy. Congratulations on winning all your medals. Congratulations on joining our CFL on TSN team. That was a great touchdown call. And we wish you the best of luck. And tell everybody to go get a donut today.
Yeah, so support the Special Olympics movement in Canada. Go to go to Tim Hortons and get the victory donut for the Special Olympics and help so many athletes and people to overcome challenges and help them going through.
Well, merci beaucoup, mon ami.
Merci beaucoup.
Harry Jones has a chuckle here. The Alouettes go ahead. Just waiting on the call.
We have 2 penalties on the play. Offside, Edmonton, and roughing the kicker, Edmonton. Both penalties will be applied on the kickoff.
I know you're liking that. So, my friend, enjoy the rest of the game. We'll see you during the Special Olympics season, and best of luck.
Another guy trying to buy your drink, and 2 for 1 on a Tuesday. How can a good thing start this way? Well, it could end up anywhere. Forever's got us.
Vernon Adams. The touchdown toss here to Jake Weineke. Second touchdown pass of the day, the first coming from Tino Lewis. Weineke has his 3rd touchdown of the season. And there were a lot of penalties after that. 20 yards in penalties on the point after.
Opportunity here with the leg of Boris Beatty. He wants to pin them deep.
Short kicks it instead. Problem with Boris, his leg is so good that he would boot it right through the end zone.
Exactly.
4:20 to go. The Eskimos have to climb back once more. Weineke. 17-9 Alouettes. Back in Montreal. Day that began in glorious sunshine. Cloud cover now. Threat of rain later. Likely post-game. Fingers crossed. Cooling down a little bit. Maybe down to about feeling like 38 right now. Greg Ellingson, not much there. He has not been able to get loose. Ryan Carter all over him once more. 4 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. 2nd and long for the Eskimos.
This is Davis Sanchez. Talked about pregame and revisited at halftime. A lot of credit has to go to this Alouette defense for the job that they've done of keeping the Edmonton Eskimos in check.
2nd down and 9. 4-man front here. They rush 4. Harris has to step up and wing it out once more to CJ. Gable had to get to the 41. It's going to be a yard short.
And again, remember CJ Gable had 154 rushing yards against these Alouettes in week 1. The Edmonton ground game really hasn't been a factor here tonight.
3rd and 1. Eskimos have struggled on short yardage tonight. They get it, but there's a flag that flew. Jason Moss addressed it at halftime too. The penalties. Talked about it before
Offside,
the game.
Defense, decline. Too many men, defense. 10-yard penalty. Result will be a 1st down.
Just like that. Ball will come up near the 50-yard line.
Well, the hole that Montreal tried to put Edmonton in with those 2 penalties on the kickoff after the Weineke touchdown. I don't think the kick went as deep as they wanted it to, but between a couple plays and penalties, Edmonton's in pretty good position.
Harris looks both ways and fires to Montreal territory. Ricky Collins snares it. 2nd and short again for the Eskimos. This is about all they're getting right now. They haven't really had a deep shot, with the exception of that play earlier in the ball game on the flea flicker. Another flag that flies. And it's a team that doesn't, as the guys in the studio talked about, they don't make big plays. They are last in the league in explosive plays.
Montreal, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Yeah, they're about consistently making high percentage plays, but Montreal has done some things with different looks, finding ways to get a little bit of pressure to Trevor Harris, that they've been able to disrupt that efficiency.
Harris mentioning something in the backfield. Jackson is in motion now. He sends out 6 receivers. Quickly near the 40. Taya J. Seems to be almost every play 4 or 5 yards, but the thing is they're making them, they're completing them.
And they're really attacking the short side of the field on this particular possession. They're hitting those short hooks and flats.
Makes you wonder if they might have something up their sleeve as well. Try to go a little deeper. Fake something short. Devon Smith, top of your screen. 4 receivers now. They go in motion. Looking left. Harris now does go deeper. Jump ball. Taken away. Knocked down. Ryan Carter. Not a good throw from Trevor Harris into traffic. It will be 3rd down, and once again, it's Sean White time.
And you ultimately ended up, again, not with both receivers in the same vicinity per se, but because it's a long throw, Tommy Campbell is able to fall off of Greg Ellingson, who is the shorter receiver. He had run the out. Devon Smith was on more of a corner, but Campbell's able to come off that out route to help out on the corner just because of the distance of that throw.
White looking to make it 4 for 4. This one a little shorter than the previous. 47.5 here. Right down Main Street once more, but it's wide. And official, did it graze the goalpost, the upright? So whistle, the official could not get to his whistle right away and waved that off.
Well, he may have saved Marcus Taylor from a dangerous decision.
Wondering if it grazed the upright. Looked like it was good for a bit, then the wind got it. Grazes the upright, hits it. You get nothing unless it bounces in, and it did not. A rare miss from Sean White. Let's take a look here.
You always hated this bar, never wanted.
Yeah, it did. Right off the upright. Nothing. Score stays 17-9 with a minute to go in the 3rd. 1-4 meets 1-3. What's going to give coming up next? Second half of our doubleheader. Mike Riley and the Lions. William Powell, Saskatchewan Roughriders from Mosaic coming up after this. Everybody trying to chase down Winnipeg in the West. The Blue Bombers running their record of 5-0 in the early season last night. It is early, but you cannot get behind the 8 ball too early. I want to say a big welcome back to our great friend. There's Herb Zurkowski from the Montreal Gazette, one of the greatest football writers in Canada. Has been away sick leave for a while. He's back off the injured list and back at it. So Herbie, welcome back.
Yeah, great to see Herb back in the stadium today after undergoing cancer treatment.
1st and 10. As Sean White miss his first of his streak. He missed early in the year, his first one, and that was sandwiched between 17 made in a row. Might come back to haunt the Eskimos.
And just for clarification, it's a dead ball as soon as the ball hits the uprights. That's the situation, but the official a little slow getting that microphone, or excuse me, the whistle up to blow the whistle. Marcus Taylor wasn't really sure what to do. Had that been a clean miss, I'm not sure that he wanted to run it out in that situation because the coverage was right there.
Adams just stands in and tries to peg one. It's picked off. Josh Johnson gets a gift.
Well, the intended receiver, Quan Bray, lost his footing and went down, creating a clear lane to the football for Josh Johnson.
So a turnover, the second by the Alouettes. Kahari Jones may be talking if there was a possible contact or interference call, and he's probably got a good point.
Yeah, they're going to challenge this for sure.
They'll challenge and likely win that. Quan Bray interfered with, so he'll throw that challenge flag.
Yeah, I mean, certainly they'll challenge. It'll be interesting to see if they win it, because to me, at first glance, at live speed, the defender just kind of held his ground. I don't think he moved off his path.
We have illegal contact on Edmonton 41. 10-yard penalty, first down Montreal.
So that came from the sky. The eye in the sky, they don't have to challenge that. Yeah. Speaking of the sky, we've seen a couple of flashes in the horizon here. Money Hunter in the collision brings the Alouettes offense back on the field. Barring penalty, last play, third quarter. Alouettes.
Well, here you'll see Quan Bray is releasing outside of Money Hunter.
Oh, yeah, it's a hip. Yeah,
he threw a little bit of a hip check.
That was no incidental conduct.
Yeah, tough to see from the all-24 where it's a farther view, but up close, great job to make sure that they got that call right.
Some Montreal Canadiens could throw hip checks like that. Out of the backfield, with a head of steam is Stanback. First down and more. Final play, third quarter. Momentum right now with the Montreal Alouettes trying to hang on, pick up their third straight win. Re-energized. Global Inclusion Day for Special Olympics. We're eating the donuts. We're watching a good football game as we head to the fourth on TSN. Head to the fourth. Edmonton Eskimos, 3-1 record. Alouettes 2-2, seeking a third straight win. The turnovers that have been an issue today. Ball time possession is about the same. Numbers are very close. And it's 17-9 right now, and the Alouettes have done a really good job controlling the clock, controlling the football.
Well, and I think that's going to be very important for them down the stretch. You know, talking to Dave Dickinson, Calgary head coach, earlier this week, and he threw out the line, the best defense is one that isn't on the field.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing for the Montreal Alouettes at this point. They don't want their defense on the field, which means they don't want Trevor Harris and the Edmonton Eskimos offense on the field. So here in the fourth quarter, if you're Montreal, you should expect to see a lot of that combination of William Stanback and Jeremiah Johnson trying to run the ball, and you can get Vernon Adams Jr. involved in that as well, off a little play action, bootleg, quarterback keeps, whether quarterback draws, take advantage of his legs as well.
Hands around. Jet sweep here.
Well, he's got catches, he's got a pass, now a rush. Different ways to work that run game, different angles of attack. This time it's Eugene Lewis running that slot counter. Eugene Lewis, by the way, we saw his touchdown pass in the first half of this football game. Bit of a streak for him, as this is 2 consecutive years with a touchdown pass for the former high school quarterback.
He hasn't thrown an incompletion yet. 2 completions last year, 1 this year. There's Lewis again. Great basketballer. His dad also a baller.
South Alabama.
And it looked like, as we talked about, those flashes in the sky there, seems to be lightning in the area. So Tom Valesi telling the players to retreat to the locker room. We talked about the possibility of some weather, disruptive weather coming into the area after such a roaster here earlier. And so they have seen a couple of strikes. Valesi will send the teams into the locker room. 17-9, and we still have a fourth quarter. Not sure how long this delay will be. We'll try to get some more information from John Liu, who's down below. And he had reported seeing some strikes on the horizon as well. And of course, we have our second half of our doubleheader coming up later as well. BC Saskatchewan. We'll get back to this game shortly, we hope. Fingers crossed as we look to the skies. And we'll send it back to Rod Smith and the guys in the studio. Boys, weather delay.
Yes, weather delay. Thank you, Rod, with David Sanchez, Matt Dunnigan, and Milt Stegall. And I guess we can take solace in the fact that we can't blame the panel this time for being on the road that there's a weather delay, and that would be the first time in a while. Yeah. We've had a lot of those, most recently in Saskatchewan, and that one went on for a long time, to echo Rod's comments. Hopefully not. I mean, and the Alouettes have some momentum, and they continue to impress so far in these last 3 games, really.
You have to be impressed. And it starts, of course, with the quarterback, Vernon Adams Jr., the way he's playing. And I said this earlier, the way he's maturing now. Early in his career, he wanted to use his athleticism, and that's good to have, but you have to use that as a last resort. Right. You have to be a drop-back quarterback to be successful in your career. And I think Kahari Jones is affecting, because we know Kahari Jones, he wasn't running by anybody, so he had to be that drop-back quarterback. So now Vernon Adams is learning that. If I want to be successful, use my legs last. It's good to have that, and it puts a lot of pressure on the defense. But if you can throw the ball down the field, complete those passes, that puts even more pressure on defenses.
It's how he's completing the passes as well. You saw the last throw right before we had to come to us. And he threw that off his back foot and darted it on the money from about 15 yards. It's not a long throw, but a lot of power and strength. And then even this last touchdown throw, watch what he does here.
Don't say it, Mill.
He throws off his back foot, and he strong arms this, and he just flips it out there off his back foot. He gets on top of it. Yeah. And for anybody, and if you saw that, but it's like this, and I'll show you. And you have to get up on top of it. When you're falling back, you have to get over the top. You have to bend at the waist, and you have to snap over the top. It's exactly what he did in that play there. And absolutely love the technique. And you talked about Kahari.
Yeah.
Man, he's having a huge influence on this
Is that more difficult, and you were one of those guys who aren't too tall, you're not 6'4", 6"? Is it more difficult for guys who are like 5'10", 5'11"?
No, it's all coming down to technique.
Okay.
And he's got plenty of arm strength, and he can make any throw on the football field right now. And the more that you're out there, and the quicker things are happening for you, you're ahead of the game, as well as you're throwing with confidence. And oftentimes you see young quarterbacks not throw with confidence because they're not sure what they're seeing. Because I've done this before on the show. It's like this. It's like things are going so fast, and now things are starting to slow down for Vernon Adams, and then pretty soon when you're on top of your game, it just stops.
Hey, Matty, what he said this week in an interview, which I thought was interesting about his maturation. And he said that he's always had confidence in himself, but he said he wasn't always prepared, didn't feel like he had the grasp of the offense. And, you know, even him saying that, you could feel his confidence. You could see it out there on the field.
Well, it's interesting, too, Sir Matty. You could judge him physically by what he does, but that confidence level that Davis talks about, I had a chance to talk to him and Kahari a couple of weeks ago before they faced Hamilton. And you talked to him last week. And so, I mean, we have all heard this coming from him, and I know Kahari wanted him to settle down, be more even. Don't get too high in the highs. Certainly don't get too lows in the lows. You throw a pick. You reset. I mean, one of the names that he pointed.
That was the strength of Kahari's.
Right.
That was the strength of Kahari.
And he said he learned some of that from Danny McManus as well, who was
well, Danny,
you had no idea how the game was going when you looked at him, right?
It's amazing.
But do you see some of that confidence that Davis was talking about?
Well, I do, and I think that's because things aren't going like that. They're slowed down for him. It's not completely stopped, and he hasn't connected the dots pre-snap like he will get to. And I spoke to him. I remember this distinctly on the sidelines 4 years ago, talking to him, and I asked him a simple question about offensive football, and he didn't have an answer, and that was alarming to me. He's come a long way, right? And because before you can even start talking the language of offensive football as a quarterback, you have to understand the defense in its entirety, and that's why you're always hearing these quarterbacks that are going in at 5. They're putting in a couple hours of video film before everybody even gets there to the house, and then they're working. And so this is what has to happen. He's assumed that responsibility, and it's paying off for him.
And you look where he is right now. Remember in Hamilton last year? They were trying to move him to receiver or defensive back because they didn't feel he was good enough to play quarterback. And you see where he is now. And I talked to Kahari earlier this week, and he said we had to tell Vernon that you can't rely on your athletic ability because when you do that, what happens? You start going through your reads too fast. Living in Atlanta, they used to tell Michael Vick all that all the time. Go through your reads slower. Be patient with your reads, and we can see that now.
And yet, I do like it when he does choose to run. I mean, he's such a gifted athlete. That touchdown run in Ottawa was crazy last week when he put that move on Avery Williams.
You saw when he caught the one today, the little juke he made. I always say he's special.
He is. He's very elusive. And difference between what he's doing and we saw it last year, and I'll tie this in. I'll tie this in. It's Manziel looked to run first, pass second, right? And Vernon's not. He's looking to pass first and run second. And even the game before Manziel made his first start for Montreal last year, Vernon Adams deserved that opportunity to play again and buy Johnny more time with this play. And we're seeing him settle in here to this opportunity. And there was the elusiveness there on the throwback to the quarterback. He's got a lot of tools, and the team's starting to believe. And it starts, I believe, in the front office, and they've cleared things up there. And I know that there's still some things that are not aligned there, but speaking to that organization, I can tell you that communication is better. And it trickles into the locker room. They believe in Kahari Jones.
For certain.
And it's transcending on the football field.
Can I add the part about the defense to what you're saying, Matty? Bob Sloak. We mentioned it a bit in the pregame, and I did want to get back to that because what Enoch Muamba told me just about the humility of Bob Sloak. And I think that, whatever didn't work with Mike Sherman, I know I'm guilty of it. We kind of put them together, and Bob Sloak is his own man. And the words that Enoch had to say about just how the humility, the questions he asked the guys, and I've also heard he sits down with Luc Brodeur-Jardin, an offensive lineman, Bob Sloak, the DC, did for hours upon hours learning the Canadian game. So he's came to the league with such humility, and these guys are following him and playing for him, and you can see it.
Oftentimes coaches don't do that.
Yeah, especially coaches with his pedigree. Where is he
Chicago
coached?
Bears, Green Bay Packers, Dallas Cowboys. Bob Sloak
I've dealt with coaches and even players who've had some success, and they come up here and they think, okay, I'm going to tear this up. How are you going to tell me how to do this? I was in the NFL. I did this and
can I
did
give you
that.
the famous
but
quote?
this is a different league.
The famous quote?
Give it.
When I was in the league.
When I was in the league, right.
When I was in the league.
You hear it all the time.
You ain't now.
You ain't now. But so it's important that they come up here and they understand that this is a different league. Yeah, you were successful in the NFL, whatever league you were in, but this is a different game.
Animal.
And it's very important for quarterbacks. Yeah. I've dealt the one, and I won't say his name, but the one time I was knocked out was because a quarterback was falling asleep, and it was actually Davis who hit me. A quarterback was falling asleep in meetings thinking this was a second-class league. He won a national championship in college. He had a little success.
You can say his name if you want.
I won't say his name. No, I won't say his name. Okay. He's a good guy. He didn't mean to do it, but he just didn't understand the game.
He didn't mean to fall asleep and not.
He didn't mean to get me knocked out. He didn't mean to get me knocked out. He didn't mean to get me knocked out.
I apologize.
We're not at halftime. We're not between games. We are early in the fourth quarter. There's a weather delay. Lightning showing up, and this is the scene at McGill in Montreal. So the players have gone to their rooms and hoping to resume play. This is the CFL on TSN. We'll be back. The skies over Montreal, and not good right now, but they're hoping in a matter of minutes that it will be clear enough, or the threat of lightning will have subsided, so that they can resume this ball game early fourth quarter with the Montreal Alouettes leading the Edmonton Eskimos 17-9. And third straight solid performance, one way or the other, for the Alouettes. More of a defensive showing this time around, which leads us to the Coors Light answering the call and the subjects each of these gentlemen had that they were looking for in this game. Milt, we'll start with your point about Vernon Adams. What do you think?
He's getting it done. He's doing everything this team is asking him to do. He hadn't turned the ball over. He's using his legs when he has to, but the most important thing, as we always talk about, he's making some plays with his arms. And as long as he continues doing that, he gives his team an opportunity to win.
Yeah, and I thought that without Posey and Cunningham, that these two guys, Bray and Steinbach, would have to step up, really rely on the run game. Really hasn't been the case for Stanback, because he's only touched the ball 9 times, only 25 yards, but some critical first downs keep drives alive. And then Bray, I think he's been explosive in some situations. Vernon underthrew him on a deep ball one time when he I think if he just gets out there, it's a walk-in touchdown. But I think the biggest thing moving forward is taking care of the football and being smart with it and not putting it on the ground.
They're also getting Jeremiah Johnson involved.
That's a nice little combination, right? Yeah. That's a nice luxury to have.
Yeah. This defense, guys, week 1, 607 yards they gave up. 526 week 2, 436 week 3, 365. So they're going down every week, and it's going to get lower after this week as well.
Like
so I mean, they answered the call, no question.
The Alouettes got some quality defensive backs finally, huh? First time it's ever happened in
some All-Stars.
By the way, I think he just took a shot.
I didn't catch that.
Come out.
Stop. By the way, Matt didn't get in trouble for asking a question last segment either.
No, it's okay. You can ask a question.
Favoritism.
Go ahead. Ask me a question about the late game, about BC and Saskatchewan.
Yes. Well, is this Manny Arsenal and Solomon?
Well, you're talking about Jeremiah Johnson, former BC line. We got,
2 guys coming
Manny's
home.
a little salty.
Is it personal?
Is it personal for me? You know what? I'm going to throw that one right back at you because I know you have some information on that.
I did. Yeah.
No, Manny Arsenault, of course, he's been out almost a year with a knee injury, and so he'll finally make his debut for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And you got Solomon Elamimian, who is just back with Saskatchewan now, and it's interesting for those two going up against their old teams.
Yeah, well, these aren't just guys who played for the BC Lions, right? These are staples for a decade.
These are household names for
exactly in that city, and good football players. And Manny told me in the offseason, I spoke to Manny. He said it. He said this is personal for me. He actually said, I look forward to straightening Devon Claybrook's hat. He made it personal, and he said he's not shy about it. He said that he feels like they made a mistake. And this is good TV because this is going to get to watch him. What's going to happen if he makes a play, when he makes a play, his interaction with his former teammates. This is going to be good.
Seen that 1,000 times over the years. Guys that put so much into it, and we know that he works extremely hard at his craft.
Yes.
And he felt like he was not given the opportunity to come back and continue to play for his team because he's coming off a major knee surgery in ACL.
Which we all get older and it happens to all of us.
Right. And so, they go with younger and cheaper and he's moved down. Right. And I don't mind him, taking that tact and getting fired up to go face his old team.
Because you said everybody feels like that, but not everybody says it.
Right. But now we live in a world where you have a platform to say that. Right. Everybody's got a platform to say it. Look what happened to Brandon Banks. He's got fined by the league for popping off about the commissioner. And to me, it's one of those things where that's the difference. Sure. I mean, when I was going from team to team, I always loved going against the teams I played for.
And you had a lot of experience doing it too, right?
Right. Caught me off guard from BC to Toronto. I just didn't see that coming. 6-for-1. I'm going to Toronto, and I love going back to BC and putting it in their face. And so I get it, Manny. And we know that Solomon is chomping at the bit to get out there and help his new team.
I guess my question is, shouldn't you have that same motivation or same drive regardless of who you're playing against? Like, are you going to only be up for this game?
I don't think he does. I don't think he doesn't have that motivation. I think he does.
I don't think so, but I don't mind you saying it. Right. But now you got to go out there and back it out. Because it's out there. You got to back it up because it's out there now. Yes. And if you don't, we're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about you if you don't.
100%.
So you better go out there and back it up.
Gets locked up and doesn't have a good game, then we're talking about it. But if he goes off, we're going to highlight it.
We're going to highlight it.
Exactly. That's why I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah. And by the way, he comes into a Saskatchewan offense that only put 10 on the board against the Calgary Stampeders 2 weeks ago. They come out of the bye, and we were raving, and rightfully so, about Cody Fajardo. Yep. But, I mean, I look at his numbers, 9 for 15, 89 yards, 2 picks against the Stampeder defense that is steadily improving. But, I mean, that has to be a concern for Saskatchewan as well. Mm-hmm. It all looked good even in the loss in Ottawa offensively. Then they beat up on the Argos. But they still, it seems, have some work to do.
I couldn't agree more. And so what you're saying is that challenge could be bigger because it may not just Manny being wanting to go out there and have a big performance and put it in the face of Ed Hervey and whoever it may be. But I can tell you that you got to have the rock. Sure. You got to have those opportunities. And if the offense is struggling, you're not going to get those opportunities. It's going to be a long day.
And I think they have him at Z. And the years he had success, he's not okay. Because the years he had success in BC, he's a slot. He's not an outside receiver.
He was a teammate of mine I practiced against when he was young a lot. He is definitely a guy with a waggle. He's tough to deal with. He's strong
and he runs hard.
Yeah, he runs strong. Yes. He's faster than he is quick as well.
Remember a guy by the name of Ray Elgar?
I do.
You talking about big and strong and using a waggle? He did it probably better than anybody else. He and Rocky DiPietro, those guys were amazing. I know I'm going back in time here, but we're talking about utilizing your strengths. And his strengths right now is his size. Not so much his speed anymore, but his size and his strength. And
that's why some guys could be Hall of Famers in this league and would struggle in another league or vice versa because it fits. It's certain, a waggle fits some guys big time. And Manny's one of those guys.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and I think they remember Ray Elgard very well on the Prairie, where he was the star for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Davis, if you remember that guy.
Certainly.
Sure does, great receiver. Players coming back in the field, I'm told now, at Molson Stadium. They are in a weather delay. They have been for the last 10 minutes plus with the threat of lightning, with the score 17-9 for the Alouettes. Early fourth quarter over the Edmonton Eskimos. Back they come, hoping to get back to Rod and Dwayne and the call of the end of this game here on TSN.
And you're down. And he's down.
The fourth quarter, back from a weather delay. Vernon Adams and Montreal Alouettes. A 17-9 lead as Trevor Harris tries to lead the Eskimos back. A one-score game, 8 points behind, back inside our studio with Ches and Maddie and Milt. And talking more about Vernon Adams, Matt, 13-19, 170 yards passing, 1 touchdown. I mean, reasonably modest numbers, but we have seen a change in him over the last couple of weeks. And he does have a winning percentage going his way as well that goes back to college.
Yeah, and he talked to his head coach, Kahari Jones, and he says he's got that it factor. And I think it's exemplified in going back and looking at his records over the years. And he's just a winner. He's won everywhere he's been. And I think what he did 2 weeks ago when Luc Jourdain retired.
Right. Well said.
Is after the ball game, he took a knee and he ran over to LBJ and gave him the football. And to me, that's awareness of what's going on around you, your teammates, and it shows to me a big sign of leadership and compassion for your teammates in that locker room. And I think that's an it factor that we're talking about there, and that's a pretty cool story. And when he told me that, I said, man, it just made me feel good about the young man. You know, he gets it, right?
People always ask, what does it take to have longevity playing sports? And I look at what Vernon Adams is doing right now, and I don't want to look too far in the future, but I could see him playing 10, 11 years if he continues this. Of course, you have to take care of your business on and off the field, but this man is 26 years old. He has a great opportunity in front of him, and hopefully he takes full advantage of it, because all three of us know it goes by like that. So you want to take advantage of every opportunity and show up that you can play as long as you can. And hopefully he does that. I mean, in this league, we need quality quarterbacks, and he looks like he's on that path to being one of those quality quarterbacks, which Montreal hadn't had since Andy Cavill retired.
2 weeks.
So they're looking
2 weeks
for something.
doesn't make a career.
No. I understand that. No, I understand that. No.
I'm just trying to bring it back a little bit here. You know, he's got eight points up on Edmonton, looking for his third win in a row, and you know things are moving in the right direction for Montreal, and Vernon's a big part of that.
Hey, Matt, you had that stat about him in college? Come on. Oregon, all we do is win at Oregon. So obviously, he has a winning percentage at Oregon. Of course, he has a winning percentage.
His winning years were where? His winning years were where?
All we do is win.
We'll keep talking. We're going to send you back to Rod and Dwayne because we got football again at McGill, guys.
Yes, we do. Thank you, guys. Back to our regularly scheduled program. Skies are clear. Teams have just warmed up. Very interesting during the warm-up, but wonder how that delay affects either side. The Edmonton Eskimos en masse as a team kind of went through some calisthenics and some warm-up, and see them. And then the Owls kind of just did their own thing as they came out.
Yeah, they're
almost, still stretching.
Well, it almost came across
so was Kahari.
Yeah, well, I mean, the coach is going to be warm and ready to go. But watching from up here, it almost came across to me as if the Eskimos were told that it's going to be 7 minutes. You get a 7-minute warm-up when you get out there, and they had something structured for 7 minutes. And it was almost like some of the Alouettes almost didn't know. They kind of, everybody came out and did their own thing. And some guys actually, I watched, some guys just went and stood on the sidelines as if play was going to start right away for the whole time.
So we continue on. 1st and 10. The Alouettes were driving when the Lightning was in the area. 27-minute delay. We continue on, and a cutback here. And Williams, Stanback, gets hit hard by Money Hunter. Stanback stands up and looks like he's close to a first down.
And I like the way that the Alouettes use motion. Quan Bray coming underneath. Remember, we've seen Gino Lewis with a carry, a handoff to the receiver. Already, you know, the Alouettes have different ways of attacking offensively. That creates space for William Stanback when they have threats coming from different angles or at different points of attack.
2nd and 1. Looks like they'll move the sticks here. Vernon Adams having some words with Vontae Diggs again, and indeed they do. It will be interesting to see who's affected more by this delay. The Alouettes clearly had a lot of momentum heading into the locker room.
Yeah, they certainly did, given just the way the game had gone leading up to the delay. Obviously, you would think the Alouettes would want to break less at that moment.
Another handoff, another cut. Jeremiah Johnson back in, and Johnson getting his first touches as an Alouette. Playing in BC the last couple of seasons. Ottawa before that. One of his more benign plays. He's actually had some standout plays here today, number 24.
Yeah, and again, first week that he's been on the roster, that he and Stanback have been on that roster together. You know, their second American running back on the roster before was Steph Logan, with whom you were going to run very specific plays. You know, I think you have a little bit more versatility with Jeremiah Johnson as your second running back in terms of what you can do.
67 yards from scrimmage for Jeremiah. And maybe that, you know, getting both of these players onto that roster had a lot to do with the release of Steph Logan, who was getting up there a lot of miles on that odometer, 38 years old, and trying to experiment today with Marcus Taylor in the return game, hoping to get something sprung. But the return game is a big part of the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Marcus Taylor getting an opportunity. He's a speed guy, terrific track guy in high school. You know, 200-meter state champion in Virginia, his junior year of high school. He's got some wheels, as Kahari Jones joked. He looks like a CFL returner in terms of his stature, his speed, and so on.
Tyler Johnston going to the sideline. Spencer Wilson is the backup O-lineman. Zach Wilkinson was a scratch.
The Alouettes are fortunate to have a guy like Spencer Wilson, who was signed in free agency from Calgary during the offseason, as this is a guy who has started and played all three positions along that offensive line. So he gives you a comfort zone when he's your sixth guy, particularly when your team's starting a Canadian tackle in Tyler Johnstone. Hopefully that's not too serious, as he's a guy who's battled injuries, particularly last year, as first in the league.
Big down here for both sides. Adam pumps and goes. He's got Quan Bray in the end zone. It's up for grabs. It's picked off. Jordan Hoover has the football. Flags are down. And will this stay? Hoover, free safety. Deflection in the end zone. Quan Bray was open by about 8 yards for a moment, but then the defenders collapsed. Arjun Calhoun also in on the play. Judging by that reaction.
Illegal contact. Edmonton number 19. 10-yard penalty. Result will be a first down.
Taekwon Glass. And the interception is intercepted. Taken away. Alouettes continue the drive. First down just outside the red zone, the 21-yard line. Penalties are killing the Eskimos here.
Well, it's interesting. You've had two interceptions taken off the board by illegal contact.
And a touchdown earlier in the ballgame by Kenny Stafford that was taken back by a hold.
Penalty, yeah. Well, you mentioned it earlier, Rod, for all the things the Edmonton Eskimos have done well this year. Penalties have been an issue.
Lonnie Hunter, a stand-back Hunter that time. Brings him down, sets up another throwing down for the Alouettes.
You know, just going back to the interception that got called back, as you'll see a look at that catch by Stanback, tackled by Hunter. You know, one of the things learning as a young quarterback, anticipating when a guy is going to be open. You look at that pass to Quan Bray where, yeah, he was wide open, but the ball needed to be on the way when he was about to be wide open.
Adams calls his own number. 5-yard pickup, 7-yard pickup, almost 10. There was only one play there, and it was all Vernon Adams scampering out, but it's going to be 3rd down and 3. They're going to go for the points here and bring out Boris Bede.
Yeah, absolutely, make it a 2-possession ball game. 10 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Little teaching moment over there. Vernon Adams told us this week he's been looking up some Kahari highlights on YouTube.
Remember when we asked him early in the year about YouTube if he had seen Kahari play, and he said, no, sir. Well, he has recently. And he's impressed. As the guys in the studio were talking, Kahari Jones has got the full respect of this Alouettes team. It's now a 2-possession ball game. 9:50 to go. We had the weather delay here. Still ahead tonight. BC Lions, Saskatchewan Roughriders. Week 6 concludes. Good one in Mosaic. 2 teams.
The 2 hungry teams.
Yeah, Hunger Games tonight. Mike Riley sputtering as well, trying to get W's. Guy who used to be the quarterback for the Eskimos. Vernon Adams. You talk about the path less traveled to become a starting quarterback in this league. He has taken some knocks.
The Montreal Alouettes projected him as their starting quarterback a few years ago. But yeah, it's the route to getting here that no one foresaw.
How about the route that John Bowman took to get that tackle? The veteran Bowman. Also, lots of praise for Kahari Jones and what he has brought. Tell you what, he may be getting up there in years, but he still has a good motor. Play action. Pocket converges. Harris throws and completes the pass to a J under duress. Great play by Trevor Harris. Flushed out of the pocket. And a J comes back, adjusts. And it will be a 3rd down. And almost a yard and a half, make it almost 2 here.
And John Bowman again in hot pursuit. Trevor Harris right on the money, under pressure that time.
So it's going to be 3rd and 2. They are keeping the offense on the field. Remember, they were stuffed early in the ball game. Turned it over early in the ball game. 3rd and 2. Gable's in the backfield.
He's going to that shotgun again.
Harris is in the gun. Trevor Harris looking for a quick hitter. He's in trouble. He throws it away to Greg Ellingson. Flagged down at the last moment as Harris.
They might have let him off the hook with the roughing the passer call here. We'll see what the flags are for.
Harris went down in a heap. So did C.J. Gable. 2 flags down.
Roughing the quarterback. Montreal number 10. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. 1st down.
So it pays off when it looked like another 3rd down turnover. Harris takes a shot. C.J. Gable slow to get up. Let's take a look.
Enoch Mwamba, the middle linebacker, was the man flagged. See as Trevor Harris steps up.
What do you think?
Probably best if I bite my tongue. There, you know what? Seeing that angle, the contact came up high.
Yeah, hit him.
The contact came up high.
Yeah, it was shot below the face mask.
Yeah.
Eskimos continue their drive. Trevor Harris down 11. Eskimos have not been able to win a ball game in the 4th when they have trailed this season. That one is picked. Taylor Loeffler. Another turnover, another interception from the arm of Trevor Harris, who had 0 picks before today. 3rd Eskimo turnover. Just when the double E was driving the ball.
Taylor Loeffler is playing deep. There's your free safety on the left side of your screen. 35-yard line on the hash mark. Just deflected ball off the fingertips of the intended receiver, Greg Ellingson. Taylor Loeffler played his college ball at UBC and Boise State. Comes up with the INT.
Harris had the option, thinking about pitching it to Johnson, and might be a little more conservative right here, trying to bleed the clock. Loeffler's first pick as an Alouette.
Hey, I ain't doing 10 push-ups, you know, with my body, all right? I'll take it.
Eskimos trying to get a stop here, get the ball back. Montreal trying to pick up its first win against the Eskimos. It's the Anthony Calvillo era back in 2013. Adams getting out of trouble. Lays it into Lewis. What a play, what a throw by Vernon Adams. Gino Lewis.
Vernon Adams on that play, to me, looks like the guy everybody expected.
Yep.
When, expected him to develop into when there was all the hype when he came into the league. The Montreal Alouettes, you may recall, gave up a first-round pick to acquire his rights off the negotiation list from the BC Lions. And Adams, to me, was sort of as talked about an American player coming into this league before he got here as anyone, Johnny Manziel excluded.
Stand back is stuffed. Maybe a loss of one. Another throwing down here. 6 minutes. Clock the enemy for the visitors.
You heard Matty talk during the break about Vernon Adams and his development and how it's no longer run first, then pass. And now he's looking to pass first. And if there's nothing, that's when he'll take off. At that time, even as he got moving around in the pocket, the eyes are downfield. He's looking to throw the football. He made a big play as a result.
Been with the Owls, been with the Riders, been with the Cats. Now Adams tried to escape and then throws it away. Just barely got it out of bounds. Vernon Adams avoids the sack, but on second down, likely too far here for a field goal for Beatty, so he'll punt it away.
Yeah, good decision. It's a tough throw. He's trying to get it across the line and out of bounds here. But does protect that field position for which they will be punting here.
A lot of pressure on Vernon Adams today.
Yeah, he's been hurried 12 times in this ball game.
Edmonton just with the one sack, though. Team that came in with 16 of them. Beatty trying to angle this.
Good spot.
Passes it down to Jackson. Martise now. Couple of cuts. 19-yard return for Martise Jackson. Olacombo on the tackle. 5 minutes to play, and Trevor Harris, the two biggest plays beyond that penalty interference call to Ricky Collins, just 19 yards. They're not a big play team, and they've shown that today. They've been nickel and diming all day long. Guess what? They can't do it now.
Well, I'll tell you what, that works when you're not turning over the football, right? When you're not throwing interceptions, when you're not turning it over on downs, when you're keeping drives alive, that works.
19 yards, though, and short slants aren't going to get it done. You're down 11. They have to stretch it out. Harris, though, pressure. Dumps it off. C.J. Gable. Second and manageable. Patrick Levels with the tackle. A reminder, second half, Lions, Riders coming up. In fact, on TSN 1, 3, and 5 right now. They're starting. We were delayed 27 minutes. Staying for the conclusion of this one. TSN 1, 3, and 5, Lions in Saskatchewan. Harris again. Now to throw it away, and I'm wondering if you're in 3-down football time now. 4 minutes to go. It's going to be third and almost 4 yards. And I don't see Hugh O'Neill coming out, so this is it.
Not a movement from the Edmonton bench at all. Jason Moss committed to going for it.
Montreal front has been causing a disturbance and commotion for Harris today, and now it comes down to third and about 3.5. Harris with time, has his man, and it's caught, and Ricky Collins has the edge in a huge play, the biggest play from scrimmage by the Eskimos. Almost could have been a roughing play afterwards. So a huge play here on the third down gamble from the Eskimos. 49 yards.
Well, you watch from this end, it was kind of a slow play to develop. Natey had the clearing route down the middle. And that's really what created the big play after the catch. Didn't create so much space or separation at the time of the catch, but when the closest defender fell down, the next level had been pushed back by the deep routes, turning that into a big gain for the Eskimos.
Harris barks out some signals now. Sends out 5. Pump and go. Jump ball. End zone. And knocked away. Looking for Greg Ellingson. Hasn't been a big factor so far. Not yet in this one. Last play coming up before the 3-minute warning.
Deontay Evans getting over there to help out, he and Tommy Campbell. Prevent the spectacular catch from Ellingson.
10 second down conversion catches this season, ranking him second in the CFL. Will they go to him here? Turn and draw play. Not going to work though. CJ Gable into a scrum. Now another 3rd down play. But before that, the 3-minute warning. 2:40 to go. Alouettes looking to end a long drought against the Double E on their home field in Montreal today. A reminder, the pregame for the Lions and the Riders on right now on TSN 3. They'll be joined in progress, TSN 1, 3, and 5 shortly as this one winds down. This one's not in the books yet by any stretch.
Don't leave us.
Sean White comes on. Missed his previous attempt. 3 of 4 today. This from the 34. This is a must make here. This point of the ball game. Keep it. And he's not making it. He's not making it. Marcus Taylor trying to come out of the end zone. Not sure that was the plan, but he was running around trying to get some points off the board. He looked like he wanted to go.
Well, having watched, I don't know if he was told to run and try to run time off the clock, but that's risky. You fumble in the end zone, you're turning a missed field goal into a touchdown for the other team.
I mean, this was a must-make at this point to make it a
really
one-possession.
was. They took that gamble on 3rd down, made the big play to get into field goal range, and to come away with nothing is costly. You ate up that time on the clock. To just gain a single point, it's still a 2-possession game. You know, for Marcus Taylor, I am not convinced as a new returner in his first game that he fully understands the rules.
I don't think he does. He'll get an indoctrination, I'm sure, this week on tape. Perhaps a rule book. Vernon Adams, they'll keep it conservative here and not give up the football. Still not over, but certainly advantage Alouettes.
William Stanback will do his best to make it be over.
One more of those, and you could pretty much put this in the books. And the Montreal Alouettes, great defensive prowess in this one.
Well, you talk about signs of a winning team, an opportunity here to put the game away. Edmonton's expecting them to run the ball. Let's see how effectively these Montreal Alouettes can do it.
Owls do it with some trickery early in the ball game. Flea flicker that worked. Now they're doing it on the ground. They put Jeremiah Johnson back in. How about Vernon Adams with that
block? Probably made his head coach cringe a little bit, but a hell of an effort play from the quarterback, Vernon Adams.
And probably even cringing more now that Vernon is grimacing a bit. How about this block here, leading the charge with Jeremiah Johnson behind him? Especially with that throwing arm. Throwing that out there first.
Looked like he might have taken the worst of that one, but you gotta love that will to win.
Chance to win 3 in a row for the first time since 2016. Alouettes have turned it around in the early season. Might this be the year they finally turn it around officially? Well, Vernon Adams, you saw that big block. He's done a lot in this one.
And he has done it all in this one. Vernon Adams coming off the best statistical game of his career last week against Ottawa. He's turned in a pretty good one here today. 15 of 22 through the air, 191 yards.
And a receiver.
Touchdown pass. We knew he could pass. We knew he could run. 7 carries, 44 yards. You found out today that he could catching a touchdown pass from Geno Lewis. And as we just saw, Vernon Adams can block. For doing it all, Vernon Adams is today's Nissan Titan Player of the Game.
Here comes a safety blitz. Jeremiah Johnson. His first game with the Owls on the roster. He's made an impact. Time out, minute 15 to go. 11 straight losses, the Alouettes against the Eskimos. Second time in a couple of weeks we've seen long streaks end. And Vernon Adams kind of shrugging his shoulder a little bit. And I think they saw that thing off right now. He'd still come out there.
Throw it with his left. But you know, this is one where, you know, in the teaching moments from Kahari Jones, the next one is you see him wincing a little bit with that shoulder. The next lesson from the head coach might be, okay, your teammates now know you're tough. They know how much you want to win. I don't want to see you ever block anyone again.
Not that way either. I mean, that's the way you can pop that shoulder out.
Go for the cut block, kid.
So the Eskimos lining up, trying to block this. Minute 15 to go. Beatty into the corner. Great kick. Tease Jackson looking for a spark here, spinning his way out. Done a nice job on special teams today, the Alouettes. And what a difference we have seen in this ball club in so many ways. Consider all the stuff that's gone on. The ownership change in Montreal, now owned by the league, awaiting new ownership. They fire their head coach, release him before game one. Kahari Jones takes over. This week, their general manager is dismissed. Now it's a general managership by committee.
Yep.
Kahari Jones is now one of the assistant general managers. By September, he might own the team.
Well, every new task that he takes on seems to be working out just fine for the Montreal Alouettes. So,
maybe,
you know, they may want to consider bringing him into that ownership bid.
Trevor Harris on Smith. Al's defense over the last couple of seasons has kept them in ball games and dominant in this one. Beyond the Vernon Adams story, defensively, a lot of pressure on Trevor Harris and the receiving corps.
An outstanding job done by this Alouette defense.
Harris again. Ellingson, his biggest catch near the 48, but time ticks down to 39.
Alouettes at this point, 10-point lead in the last minute, 40 seconds, 39 seconds to go in the ball game. They're playing off. They may give them catches. They want to make sure they keep them in front of the defenders. Come up and make tackles just to avoid giving up one over their heads.
Eskimos have to go for the end zone soon. Look out, Trevor Harris. Down he goes. Antonio Simmons. Right at the line of scrimmage. Did they get over, or are they? I'm sure they're giving him a sack.
This is Trevor Harris seemed to be gathering himself to throw. Antonio Simmons appeared like a flash from the backside to bring him down.
Well, the Alouettes trying to hang on here. Looks like they will. Harris has to go end zone, you think, here. And will not. Last play coming up. Alouettes have a bye week. What a way to go into the bye with a W. Make it 3-2 in the East.
Yeah, again, much like the break in the middle of this ball game, I'm not sure the Alouettes want this bye week.
Want to get back on the horse.
Yeah, they might be phoning for a schedule change. 3 wins in a row.
One of the hottest days of the summer here in Montreal. And And the Alouettes turn the heat up even more. And Vernon Adams Jr. taking over the starting role, maybe becoming a star here in this city. Led them to victory today. Final play, barring penalty. That's it. Maybe one more. Flag down. Team that oozes confidence, and it maybe starts right there.
So I said it earlier in the ball game. I'll say it again. This is a team that has had a lot of turmoil.
Montreal number 3. 10-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
But they needed a voice to listen to so that they wouldn't hear all the outside noise. And Kahari Jones has provided that voice, a voice of credibility, a voice of calm.
And confidence.
And he has instilled that.
Well, last play here. Eskimos will head home. They've got the Argos next week. They're going to fall to 3-2. Two teams now with 3-2. CJ Gable, final play. The Alouettes end an 11-game losing skid against the Eskimos. Vernon Adams, winning quarterback. What a game. Caught a touchdown as well. 20-10 is the final here. Owls have won 3 in a row. For those of you on TSN 4, here comes Sports Center.
And for those of you on TSN 1